Chapter 1309. What's your relationship with your grandmother? Just tell me who you are. Before the young man could finish speaking, Wang Kai frowned and curled his lips impatiently. Ew. The young man held his breath when he heard Lin Yun's words. How could he not know that Wang Kai was deliberately interrupting him? I'm the heir of the Lujian monarch, Jian Mia. The young man gritted his teeth and said coldly, I'm the Lujian monarch. The middle-aged man spoke indifferently, and his expression was indifferent to the extreme. It was as if he was talking about something insignificant. Wang Kai was speechless when he saw how pretentious they were. He had to hand it to these nobles. So are you satisfied? If you're satisfied, then get lost. Jian Mia snorted coldly with a frown on his face. He didn't forget to look at Yin Yan as he spoke. He thought that he would attract her attention after he revealed his identity. But he didn't expect that she wouldn't react at all. It was as if his identity wasn't worth mentioning or was useless to her. Don't ask me about this. I can easily crush a little tramp like you to death. In the end, it still depends on what she wants. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. You're just the heir of a mortal kingdom? Wen Xin pursed her red lips as she slowly stood up, and then she walked over to Jian Mia and suddenly slapped him. With a pa sound, Sword of Annihilation was knocked to the ground. I'm the daughter of the 5 profound Dao Gates sect master, Wen Xian. Whoosh! Before the Lujian monarch could stand up and rebuke Wen Xian, he was stunned by Wen Xian's glare. He looked at her in disbelief. Do you have any proof? The Lujian monarch frowned and looked at her in bewilderment. As a cultivator, she dared to say that she was the daughter of the 5 profound Dao Gates sect master. This wasn't something that ordinary people would dare to do. After all, as long as one was a cultivator, there was no one who did not know of the 5 profound Dao sect's fame. If he casually impersonated her, wouldn't he be courting death? Thus, the Lujian king was very worried, but he couldn't be sure. He couldn't completely believe Wen Xian's words. It must be fake. How could Imperial Father pay any attention to such a little girl who is full of lies? Cough, cough. Jian Mia covered his face and got up. He stared coldly at Wen Xian and did not dare to attack her. After all, he knew very well that he would never be able to defeat a cultivator. I would rather believe that the young lady is a disciple of the 5 profound Dao sect than believe that you are the daughter of the sect master of the 5 profound Dao sect. Jian Mia said coldly. Oh, really? Then there's no need for you to believe me. Get out now, and I'll spare your lives. Otherwise, you'll die here immediately. Wen Xian, who couldn't stand mortals, immediately curled her lips to express her disdain. Let's leave for now. Before Jian Mia could get angry, the Lujian king frowned and shouted to stop him. It didn't matter whether Wen Xian was telling the truth or not. They couldn't go against her now. After all, a cultivator could easily destroy them. In the future, you should be more careful. Do you think you can covet any woman you want? Wang Kai curled his lips and walked to Yin Yan. He sat down in front of her and pulled her into his arms. Yin Yan pursed her lips and blushed slightly, but she did not stop him. Seeing this, Jian Mia flew into a rage and glared at Yin Yan. His expression was filled with jealousy and deep resentment. You bastard! Stay away from senior sister Yin. Otherwise, I'll get my father to beat you up immediately. Wen Xian frowned and cursed at Jian Mia. Your father? When Wang Kai heard this, he curled his lips in disdain and said indifferently, Your father can't wait for you to marry me so that I can take charge of the 5 profound Dao sect. If you don't believe me, you can call him over and ask him. Whoosh! Hearing this, Wen Xian's face darkened. Indeed, that was her father's intention. However, she did not expect Wang Kai to know about this. Could it be that he had clairvoyant ears and clairvoyant eyes? We can't provoke these people. Let's go. We have more important things to do. The Lujian king frowned and hurriedly reminded him. Then, he led the gloomy Jian Mia out of the restaurant. At the same time, the soldiers who had entered the Scorching Sun restaurant to capture the murderers met up with Lu Jian and Jian Mia. All of you leave. This is not something you can interfere in. Lu Jian Mia said coldly as he took out a token. When the soldiers saw this, They immediately knelt down and bowed. Then, they left without saying a word. They already believed that Lu Jianye and Jianye were the ones who killed those people. Since that was the case, there was no need for them to interfere in this matter. Lu Jianye is quite good at dealing with people. Sensing it, Wang Kai couldn't help but nod and smile. He even secretly used his strength to send Jianye tumbling. Damn it. Shut up. Let's go. Before Jianye could get angry, Lu Jianye stopped him. They naturally knew that the person who attacked them was one of the people on the second floor. Wouldn't it be better to kill him? It's so troublesome. When Xian pursed her lips in disdain. It's easy to kill people, but it's difficult to play with them. I like to play with people now, huh? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and laughed. You're a hypocrite. When Xian was filled with disdain as she turned to look at Yun and softly said, Senior Sister Yun, don't believe him. He is a hypocrite. Everything is just a pretense. His true nature must be extremely cruel, and he's a spoiled brat. Is that so? Am I a hypocrite? Wang Kai's eyes lit up when he heard this. He quickly went up to her and asked, Am I really a hypocrite? Do I look like one? Do I really look like one? Are you an idiot? Is there a need to be so agitated? When Xian frowned and looked at him in surprise. It was the first time Wang Kai had seen someone so eager to ask him. He seems to want others to call him a hypocrite. Yin pursed her red lips and shook her head with a smile. She did not know that this was exactly what Wang Kai wanted. Pretending to be a hypocrite was much better than being a real villain. Otherwise, Wang Kai would have annihilated all of them with a flip of his hand based on those people who made things difficult for him earlier. Why would he waste his breath on them? What is your true nature? Do you dare to say it? When Xian squinted her eyes and looked at Wang Kai with disdain, she was naturally able to tell that Wang Kai's true nature was definitely that of a profligate second generation. Moreover, he was extremely treacherous and cunning, and even more shameless and ruthless. Junior Sister One, no matter what he is, let's not talk about it. If you really hate him, you wouldn't have come with us. Yun said softly. Chapter 13:10. Hearing this, when Xian pursed her red lips and rolled her eyes, she did not say anything else. Indeed, Wang Kai was despicable, but when Xian's true thoughts were not to kill him or hate him. In short, she hated him, but she could not truly hate him. Not good. Swish. Suddenly, Wang Kai's expression abruptly changed, and he stood up, seeing him so serious and even dignified. Yun and when Xian looked at each other and could not help but feel nervous. What was it that could make Wang Kai treat it so seriously? Could it be the mysterious expert who injured father? Wan Xian pursed her red lips, her pretty face slightly pale. Wait here for a moment. A few old enemies are here. They are not weaker than the Onmyoji Qing Kong and the rest. In fact, they're much stronger. Wang Kai frowned and said with a serious expression. He then turned around and was about to step into the air. Wait, I want to go with you. Yin immediately stood up, pursing her red lips, her tone extremely firm. All right then, you guys can enter the space I've torn apart first. Wang Kai gently nodded, then with a flip of his hand, Yun and Wen Xian were both stored in the system. This young master of the cultivation world. What exactly happened? Our blazing sun city is going to be destroyed. Phew, before the surrounding guests could finish speaking, Wang Kai seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. He sat down on a chair and looked at them rather casually. He waved his hand and said, It's nothing. I just want to go to the 4th floor to have some fun. It's very inconvenient to follow 2 family members. Don't you think so? When these words came out, the faces of the surrounding guests suddenly froze. You look at me. I look at you, all of you are speechless. Looking at Wang Kai, who really stood up and walked up the stairs, several guests could not help but give him a thumbs up. Then they nodded and sighed. We men are so difficult. Who would have thought that Wang Kai's pretense of being nervous and serious was actually an opportunity to avoid Yin and Wen Xian and go to the 4th floor to have some fun? Who didn't know what kind of place the 4th floor of Scorching Sun restaurant was? They left the 2nd floor and passed through the 3rd floor. With his hands behind his back, Wang Kai finally arrived at the 4th level. looking at the land of Fan Province, the White Jade Building that was as spacious as the White Jade Building. There were also hundreds of brothel patrons chatting and laughing with beautiful women with heavy makeup. It could be said that the air was filled with the smell of alcohol, and the sound of laughter was endless. Bursts of fragrance assailed his nostrils, but it made Wang Kai somewhat intoxicated. Good. What a good place. What a great scorching sun restaurant. Although the customers here are of a lower level, they can still be considered as third-rate customers. Wang Kai clasped his hands behind his back and frowned, praising loudly. F***CK. Kid, where did you come from? You still dare to call us third-rate brothel patrons? I wonder what kind of person you are. That's right. Looking at your age, you shouldn't be that old, right? Have you slept with her? Ha ha. F***CK. He can only peek, right? In an instant, many of the brothel patrons burst into laughter. However, Wang Kai was not angry at all. Instead, his eyes were filled with hot tears. He finally found the feeling of liveliness. The pure and refined goddesses and fairies were simply too disgusting. Only in such an open place could a real man vent his frustrations. Whether it was physically or mentally, they could obtain the greatest satisfaction. Of course, I'm above the first-rate customers, and I'm a special customer. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and smiled proudly. As soon as he finished speaking, the system notification did not sound. It could be seen that what Wang Kai said was true. At least in this place, he was the most powerful customer. A special customer. Hearing this, everyone could not help but be stunned. Those beautiful brothel ladies blinked their beautiful eyes and looked at Wang Kai in amazement. No one would have thought that this young man would actually be so daring and open a play like this. Even though he was on equal footing with a group of burly and valiant-looking adults, he could brag and talk nonsense. Hee kid, then tell me, what is a special brothel patron? That's right. If you can tell us well and satisfy us, we'll pay for all your food and drinks and the money you need to find your sisters tonight. That's right. Even if you find dozens of beautiful sisters, even if they're the most popular girls, we'll pay for them. Hearing their words, the young ladies all began to scream incessantly. When they looked at Wang Kai again, their beautiful eyes were filled with fondness. With such a young man around, why would they worry about not making enough money? He was simply an invaluable help. Haha, let's take your current actions as an example. It proves that I'm a top-tier brothel patron. With just a casual sentence, I'm able to make you all pay a large sum of money to treat me to a meal. Furthermore, I'm able to gain the favor of the beauties on the 4th floor. What do you guys think? Does he count as a special brothel patron? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled proudly. Whoosh! When he said that, the customers were stunned. When they looked at the ladies again, they realized that they were very interested in Wang Kai. They even looked as if they were willing to play with him for free. Ha ha! Little brother, come over to me. I'll play with you. Come on, little brother. You're so handsome. Why don't you come to us tonight? Ha! How about 20 of us serve you together? That's right. They'll pay for it anyway. Just agree to us. In an instant, many beautiful girls were waving their hands at Wang Kai and throwing flirtatious glances at him. Ha ha ha! No problem. Let's have 20 of us tonight. Wang Kai laughed loudly. Then, he looked at the customers and said calmly, Remember to pay the bill. F***CK. This boy is scheming against us. Damn it, we've been tricked. In an instant, the crowd came to their senses. Weren't those ladies fond of Wang Kai because they could get more money from him? Moreover, one of them could spend the same amount of money as 20 people. The money had to be paid by the customers. It would be strange if the ladies didn't like him after spending so much money. Third-rate customers, you'd better learn from me. Wang Kai curled his lips. Then, he blended into the crowd of ladies and chatted cheerfully. He was so carefree and happy. It could be said that everyone was gnashing their teeth in anger. They couldn't wait to beat Wang Kai up. Damn it, he's indeed a top customer. Ha ha ha, looks like we've been tricked. Forget it. Heroes come from the young. Ha ha ha. Immediately after, the crowd burst into laughter again and gathered around to join in the fun. There was an endless stream of people who wanted to toast Wang Kai. It could be said that they couldn't be chased away. Wang Kai enjoyed it quite a bit. He secretly used his divine consciousness to spy. When he found the traces of Chao Nima and Chu Dadi, he couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that the two of them were having sex in the private room. Chapter 13:11. The next day, at noon, in an extremely simple room, Wang Kai opened his eyes in a daze, looking at the tattered decorations around him and the smell of alcohol in the room. Beside him, there were hundreds of men lying. All of them were sleeping soundly. The sound of snoring was earth-shattering. What the F***CK? Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened, and the veins on his forehead stood out. Last night, on the 4th floor, he did not use his cultivation at all. He was completely relying on the most primitive ability to talk and drink with everyone. In the end, he was completely drunk and unconscious. This was also the most relaxed Wang Kai had been recently, but he did not expect that after waking up, he would be in a room full of the smell of alcohol. Around him, there were hundreds of men lying. What the F***CK? Scorching Sun Restaurant. Do you want to die, or do you want to stay here? Wang Kai's face was gloomy and scary. He gritted his teeth and stood up, only to feel an extreme pain in his head. There was even some after effect of the alcohol, and he was confused. Buzz. In desperation, Wang Kai could only use his cultivation to get rid of the smell of alcohol. After regaining consciousness, he pushed the door open and went out. At first glance, he found that there was a F***king sign next to the door. There were 3 big words clearly written on it. Drunkard. What the F***CK? Wang Kai couldn't hold it in any longer and cursed out loud. He did not expect that the Scorching Sun restaurant would do things like this. They threw him out when he was drunk and threw him into a place where drunkards gathered. Couldn't they just find a room and find a few girls to sleep with? What are you shouting for? I can tell at first glance that you are a virgin. It's your first time to the 4th floor of the Scorching Sun restaurant, right? That place is closed during the day, and you can't stay overnight. This is the back of the Scorching Sun restaurant, a place specially for us to sleep. A middle-aged man slowly woke up, rubbed his eyes, looked at Wang Kai, and then fell down again and went back to sleep. Hearing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. For a moment, it could be said that he was helpless. It couldn't be helped. The rules of the Scorching Sun restaurant were as such. He could only blame himself for not knowing. It was all his fault for having a hangover. Damn it, I'm afraid I've gone too far this time. To think that I'm sleeping in the same place as this bunch of idiots. Damn. Wang Kai's face darkened. Gritting his teeth, he flipped over and soared into the sky, directly disappearing. Just now, I think I heard young Master Kai's voice. Of course not. Hurry up and go to sleep. Don't talk. Young Master Kai is such an awesome person. How could he be like us, thinking about getting drunk? Chao Nima and Chu Dadi muttered a few sentences in a daze before falling asleep again. At the same time, on the shore of a lake deep in the mountains, Wang Kai floated down from the sky. With a flip of his hand, he took off all his clothes and threw them away. Then he dived into the pool. He began to clean himself up comfortably. It seems that I'd better not be a poser in the future. My physique is not suitable for drinking at all. If I drink casually, I won't be able to get up. Fortunately, this is a mortal place. If I were in the cultivation world, someone might take the opportunity to kill me. Wang Kai leaned against the shore and curled his lips speechlessly. Senior sister, I think I heard someone talking just now. Where? You must have heard it wrong. This place is deserted. Only our Shueyuan nunnery is cultivating here. Hurry up and go wash the bloodstains on your body. Oh, okay. I really don't know what kind of cruel enemy that young master met. He was injured so badly. In order to save him, we were covered in blood. As 2 crisp female voices sounded, before Wang Kai could react, he saw 2 women in Buddhist robes. Oh no, they should be called nuns. They appeared on the shore. They were originally chatting, but after seeing Wang Kai, they were all stunned. Their red lips were slightly open, and their beautiful eyes were wide open. They looked at Wang Kai in disbelief. F***CK. You peeked at me taking a bath? Wang Kai frowned. Immediately, like a woman, he let out a shocking scream. He stood up, raised his arm, pointed at them, and shouted loudly, "What are you doing?" Obviously, he was very angry. It was no doubt the expression of a woman who had been piqued at taking a bath. What are you screaming for? It's not like you'll lose a piece of meat just by taking a look." The younger and more beautiful nun pursed her lips and turned around shyly. "It's not like I'll lose a piece of meat? F***ck. Hearing that, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said fiercely, "That won't do. You have to pay the price for what you saw." "Pay the price? You stood up by yourself. Just now, we only saw your back." The two nuns had their backs to him, and their pretty faces were red. For a moment, it could be said that they were extremely shy. They didn't expect that there would be a man taking a bath in this deep mountain. Moreover, when he was accidentally seen, he actually let out a scream like a woman. Logically speaking, shouldn't a woman only react that way after being peeked at? Why was it the other way around? "What do you mean by I stood up by myself? And you only saw my back?" Wang Kai's face darkened. He pretended to be angry and stared at them. He sneered and said, "I don't care. You have to pay the price. Since you said that you only saw my back, then show me your back and let me see it. Otherwise, this won't end here. Let me tell you." Whoosh! As soon as he said that, the two beautiful nuns blushed even more and their bodies trembled. For a moment, they looked flustered and didn't know what to do. They didn't expect Wang Kai to be so aggressive. How could they see it? "We're just women. You're a man. Why do you have to be so aggressive?" "That's right. We hope that you can be more magnanimous. We're in the wrong first. We'll apologize to you." The two beautiful nuns pursed their lips and begged one after another. "What's wrong with women? Can a woman casually watch a man bathe? After seeing it, you still look like nothing has happened? Since that's the case, why can't we men watch you bathe? Besides, you barged in first. Don't you know that you have to pay the price for making a mistake?" Wang Kai put his hands on his waist and walked in front of them, acting like a hooligan. You, don't come over." The two beautiful nuns hurriedly turned around again. They were completely shocked by Wang Kai's actions. They couldn't believe that there was such a person in this world. Should they say that he was shameless, or should they say that he was unreasonable? Or perhaps both were very suitable for him, right? "If you don't let me see it, then don't blame me for being impolite. Let me tell you, I've killed at least 8,000 people outside. Moreover, all of them were killed and then eaten," Wang Kai said with an indifferent expression. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. Obtained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values." Chapter 13:12. I should have expected it. How could someone like you, who has a bragging system, tell the truth? Qin Kong's face was dark. After his injuries healed, he tore off all the cloth strips on his body. "Then you're wrong. Actually, I don't have 10,000 systems. This matter is indeed bragging. However, I have 9,999. This matter is real." Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled proudly. "Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've obtained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values." Do you think I'll believe you again?" Qin Kong expressed his disdain towards this. However, his expression suddenly turned solemn as he said in a deep voice, "Although I don't like you, Qin Kong, will remember your life-saving grace today. In the future, I will repay you with my life." "Return my life?" Hearing this, Wang Kai was filled with disdain. He waved his hand and said, "Forget about this matter. I'm so awesome. I have countless systems. Whoever sees me will be afraid. Whoever hits me will die. Do you think I need you to save my life? You should take care of yourself. Otherwise, if you get ambushed again, you won't even know how you died." Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've obtained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Shua. As soon as these words were spoken, Qin Kong's face immediately turned ashen. He gritted his teeth and said, "I really don't like you. You're really too despicable. F***ck, you better stop liking me. I like women. Why do you keep trying to get close to me? What are you doing? Besides, what I said is true. There's still thousands of systems, such as bragging, red packets, lottery, and so on. Have you heard of them? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked playfully. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've obtained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Of course I've heard of it. However, the owner of the bragging system can no longer pretend. He should have seized the system of another host and changed his method to increase his strength, right? And that red packet and lottery system, they're not as good as your mouth. The corner of Qin Kong's mouth twitched as he said speechlessly. Black lines appeared on Wang Kai's forehead when he heard this. He was truly speechless. When did he become a mouth cannon? Clearly, he could break through the realm just by silently bragging with his thoughts. Okay? For example, being invincible in the present age and defeating all the system owners was just a matter of minutes. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai couldn't help but frown. He urged his mind instructs in a second and opened the system page. Host, Wang Kai class, Mechanic Realm, Undying Divine Technique, Undying and Indestructible Overlord Level Divine Skill, Strengthen Overlord Level Divine Weapon, Heavenly Halberd Overlord Level The Power of God, Full Spirit Divine Eye, Torch Dragon's Eye Energy, 13110 bragging points, 290 experience, 1700200000. I still need 3 more awesomeness before I can make a breakthrough. Wang Kai frowned and glanced at him speechlessly. Only when he broke through to the Supreme Realm would he be able to know what the next realm was. It was an unknown power and realm. Only when he reached that level and used his strengthened skills in mechanic form would he be able to compete with the experts of the second universe, right? Otherwise, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. If not for the fact that Qin Kong and Miss by both had their own weaknesses, it would be too difficult to win. Ah, young master, you're fine? Oh my God, that devil is here too. Suddenly, 2 nuns walked in. They had just calmed down, but when they saw Wang Kai, they were immediately scared out of their wits. Thank you for saving me. Tell me, what do you want in return? I will help you complete it. A supreme cultivation technique? Or an inexhaustible wealth? Or is it the supreme one? Bang! Not waiting for Qin Kong to finish speaking, Wang Kai suddenly slapped down. F*CKU. What are you doing? Qin Kong flew into a rage and glared at Wang Kai with a red face. Are you a F*King idiot? The 2 of them are obviously nuns. What's the use of giving them wealth and status? Also, do you think they would want a supreme cultivation technique? Why can't you use another method? Wang Kai frowned and glanced at him with disdain. Then, he looked at the 2 nuns and said calmly, as an answer for saving him, I will repay you. Now, take off all your clothes and let me see it. Are you repaying a debt of gratitude, or are you being ungrateful? Hearing this, Clear Sky was stunned and looked at Wang Kai speechlessly. She had never thought that his way of repaying a debt of gratitude would be so despicable. We don't need you to repay us. Since you are not enemies, please leave this place quickly. The 2 nuns looked at each other, and their delicate bodies trembled as they ordered them to leave. What do you mean we don't need to repay you? How can we not repay you? Wang Kai frowned and walked in front of them with his hands behind his back. In order to prevent them from escaping, he used his power to fix them in place. Let's forget about the matter of you peeking at me bathing. Wouldn't I be at a disadvantage then? Peeking at you bathing? Them? This? Qin Kong was stunned when she heard this. He looked at the 2 nuns in disbelief. How could such kind-hearted cultivators do such a despicable and shameless thing? We didn't do it on purpose. Moreover, we only saw your back at first. It was you who jumped in front of us and let us see. Yes, that's right. Please don't be unreasonable. We really didn't mean to peek at you. Qin Kong's face darkened when she heard their words. It was obvious that it was the same as what she had guessed. All of this was done on purpose by Wang Kai. Sigh. Actually, I'm doing this for your own good. I'm not afraid of you laughing at me, but I've always had a curse on my body. That is, whoever sees my back will receive an infinite amount of curses, such as attracting bandits, being killed, or even being sold into a brothel. All of these can happen to you. Wang Kai shook his head helplessly and sighed, trying his best to persuade her. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. He must be bragging again, right? Qin Kong rolled her eyes in disdain, then looked at the 2 nuns and waved her hand. Don't listen to his nonsense. We'll leave in a while. All right, yes, thank you, young master. Brat, don't tell me you've never been in love before. You're not even willing to seize such a good opportunity? Those are the bodies of 2 beauties, and they're even nuns. Don't you feel any excitement? Wang Kai frowned and looked at him speechlessly. What's dating? Qin Kong frowned and asked in confusion. Chapter 13:13. You don't even know about dating? What are you living for? Why don't you die instead of a good person? Wang Kai frowned and looked at him speechlessly. A powerful yin-yang master like Qin Kong had never been in a relationship before. Is it important to be in a relationship? Will I die if I don't know? Qin Kong's eyes flickered slightly, and he couldn't help but be puzzled. Maybe it's the way I expressed it that confused you? Wang Kai couldn't help but touch his nose. He changed his method and said bluntly, dating is when a man and a woman fall in love, from knowing each other to getting married to entering the bridal chamber. Do you understand now? Whoosh. As soon as he said that, Qin Kong's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, Of course I understand. Besides, I already have a few confidants. If that's the case, why are you indifferent to them? Is it because these 2 little nuns aren't beautiful enough? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and looked at him in surprise. In his opinion, these 2 little nuns were quite good-looking. As long as a man saw it, he would not remain indifferent. But Qin Kong didn't have that intention. Was he pretending to be righteous? Or was he a real gentleman? It's not that I'm indifferent. It's just that I feel that this method is inappropriate. I can't wallow in the mire with you. Since you said that to be in a relationship, we have to get to know each other. We've only just met them. How can we... Don't you understand romance? It's tiring to get to know each other, okay? Who wouldn't look at them for free? As the saying goes, don't pick the wildflowers by the roadside, but who wouldn't pick them for free? Wang Kai looked at him, speechless. He just opened his mouth to reason with him. Pick them if you want. I'm not picking them anyway. F***CK. Rhymes. You're quite good at picking up the conversation. Wang Kai stared at him and couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Qin Kong was speechless. He finally understood that Wang Kai was definitely a weirdo. He was very casual and didn't care about moral principles at all. Everything was done according to his heart. It was natural. If you're not going to pick it, then step back. I'll do it. Wang Kai shrugged and raised his hand to push Qin Kong to the side. He then looked at the 2 beautiful nuns with a smile. You guys peeked at me bathing before. Isn't it time for me to return the favor now? Young master. The 2 beautiful nuns could only look at the clear sky for help. In response, Clear Sky frowned and tried to persuade him. Wang Kai, they are my saviors. Let's just forget about this. Let's go look for beauties elsewhere. If you're not satisfied, I'll personally pick one for you, okay? Patter. Wang Kai immediately raised his hand and snapped his fingers. He nodded and said, Well, you're right. Let's go now. Clear Sky was dumbfounded on the spot. Why did he suddenly feel like he had been tricked? Obviously, Wang Kai was not interested in the 2 nuns. Was everything just to pull him into the pit? This Wang Kai is full of tricks. It's impossible to guard against him. It's better to be careful. Otherwise, I won't even know how I died after being tricked by him. Clear Sky gritted his teeth and secretly warned himself. Let's go. Let's find a Taoist sect and see if there are any fairies or senior sisters. When the time comes, you have to compensate me. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and smiled playfully. Then he stepped into the air. Seeing this, Clear Sky gritted his teeth in anger and followed closely behind. They're gone. The 2 beautiful nuns looked at each other and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Just now, they had almost broken their precepts. If Wang Kai really forced himself to look at her body, then her cultivation would end. Where are we going? It doesn't matter if we find the beauties of the third universe or not, right? High up in the sky, clear sky frowned with some disdain. Obviously, he looked down on the women of the third universe. In his opinion, only the women of the second universe were the most beautiful. Regarding this, Wang Kai was rather surprised. He wanted to go to the second universe to take a look and take a look. Let's go to the Heavenly Bone Dao sect. There's a Ji Zun's daughter there. I remember her name. Li Wenyu. When such a name came out, Clear Sky burst out laughing. Li Wenyu? There's actually a woman in this world with such a name? Clear Sky restrained his smile and suppressed his surprise. I'm the same as you. I'm also very curious about this name. So, let's go to the Heavenly Bone Dao sect to find her. I'm not afraid to tell you that she's been secretly in love with me for a long time. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said proudly with his hands behind his back, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values." Is that so? Hearing this, the corners of Clear Sky's mouth twitched. He secretly felt disdainful and said, "If that's the case, then there's no need for me to help you find a beauty, right? That won't do. Leave this Li Wenyu to me. You have to help me find other beauties. The more arrogant and unyielding the beauties, the better." Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile, "All right, this matter is simple. After I find a woman who meets your requirements, I'll use my Shikigami to knock her out and send her to your bed. That's all right, right?" Clear Sky nodded and said rather casually and straightforwardly, Weren't you very resistant just now? You even want to stop 2 little nuns. Now, why are you even willing to knock out a beauty and send her to your bed?" Wang Kai touched his nose and looked at him in surprise. "They are my saviors. They are different. As for the others, no matter who they are, I don't put them in my eyes. They're just ants." Clear Sky snorted disdainfully, his expression indifferent. "Good, very good." Wang Kai nodded to show his appreciation. He patted Clear Sky's shoulder and said lightly, "Then go and do it now." It must be the arrogant kind. The more arrogant, the better. How can I find you? Once you seal your aura, I can't sense you. The only reason I could find you before was because I was following you." Clear Sky frowned and asked doubtfully, "Oh, it's okay. If I don't seal my aura, you can find me anytime, anywhere." Wang Kai waved his hand and said rather casually. Then, he sped up and covered the area with his divine consciousness. He stepped into the air and headed toward the Sky Bone Dao sect. "Humph, do you really think that I will help you? You set me up once. This time, I will pay you back." Looking at Wang Kai's disappearing figure, Clear Sky curled his lips and snorted disdainfully. Clearly, he was just brushing Wang Kai off and agreeing to it on purpose. "Oh, is that so? That's such a pity." Suddenly, a soft chuckle rang out. Qin Kong, who had yet to leave, immediately froze. He turned his head mechanically and looked at Wang Kai, who had appeared in astonishment. Chapter 13-14. Wang Kai. The corners of Qin Kong's mouth twitched as he stared at Wang Kai. He didn't expect that this guy didn't leave at all. Instead, he hid in the dark and observed him. Qin Kong couldn't help but wonder how suspicious Wang Kai was. How sinister was he? "You're still very young, too inexperienced. No wonder you were sneak attacked by Miss Bai and beaten up like that. Speaking of which, you didn't feel wronged at all." Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and looked at him with disdain. As soon as he left, he started to be smug. Didn't he know that he had to pretend to be cool to the end, to be perfect? I knew that you hadn't truly left. So, I decided to test you out. Between the two of us, there's no need to say who's younger, right? Qin Kong snorted with disdain, looking extremely arrogant. Hearing this, Wang Kai was a little speechless. He couldn't help but touch his nose and said jokingly, "Do you mean that I have to admire you for being smart? No need to admire me. I'm already bang." Not waiting for Qin Kong to finish speaking, Wang Kai suddenly slapped him. He even took away all the Shikigamis in his arms. Grabbing his neck, he beat him up in the air. Without his Shikigamis, he was still caught by Wang Kai. The attack was so fierce that Qin Kong was stunned. How could he have a chance to react? It was almost a one-sided beating. When Wang Kai stopped, Qin Kong's face was already swollen and bruised, and his whole body was covered with wounds. "Forget it. You'd better go to the Sky Bone Dao sect with me." Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather casual expression. He didn't feel guilty at all after beating him up. It was as if he didn't hit Qin Kong at all. His attitude made Qin Kong extremely angry. He flew into a rage out of humiliation, but there was nothing he could do. "Give me back my Shikagamis." Qin Kong gritted his teeth and said, "I'll give you one first. Keep it for self-defense. As for the rest, I'll naturally return them to you when the time comes." Wang Kai smiled casually, took out a Shikigami from the system, and threw it to him as if he was throwing trash. With the system keeping the spirit-branded retainers, even if Suko was a yin-yang master, there was nothing she could do. And in Universe 3, it was even more impossible to find a Shikigami. Even if he wanted to make a Shikigami, the third universe didn't have the materials. Sky Bone Dao Sect. Wang Kai transformed into a masked man. His body was tall and sturdy and had a full beard. Clear Sky followed Wang Kai's instructions and turned into a sloppy old man. His entire body was dirty, and there was a strong stench coming from him. "What are you trying to do? Shouldn't picking up girls be done in the most handsome manner? With our looks, how can any woman take a fancy to us?" Qin Kong scratched his beard and said speechlessly, "Who told you that I'm here to pick up girls?" Wang Kai frowned and looked at him with disdain. He said indifferently, "I'm here to pick flowers. Don't you know what a rapist does? Is there a rapist who goes to pick flowers openly? You want to kidnap someone? Force. And in this appearance, damn, are you so fierce?" Qin Kong was stunned and stared at him in disbelief. It was fine if he was secretly picking flowers, but he actually used the appearance of a masked man. Wouldn't this make the women who had been picked commit suicide afterwards? Just thinking about it made him feel disgusted. If he were to have intimate contact with her again, most likely, no woman would dare to continue living. What do you know? Learn from him. Aren't all rapists very unsightly? If you're handsome, do you still need to be a rapist? Can't you just pick her up? Stupid. Wang Kai glanced at him and scolded him with disdain. Stupid. Hearing this, the corner of Qin Kong's mouth twitched violently. He didn't know where Wang Kai's logic came from. Who said that a rapist must have an ugly face? What if he liked this kind of thing? Moreover, the most important thing is that I'm so handsome and have an amazing temperament. What kind of beauty wouldn't flock to me? If I were to show my true face, what's the point of it? Don't you think so? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and said proudly, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching the sovereign realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining the title, Battle 5 Slag. Host, this title has no use. Host, Wang Kai title, Battle 5 Slag Realm, Sovereign Combat Strength, 5 bragging points, 500 experience, 0 out of 100." Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's face darkened. In his heart, there were 10,000 grass mud horses galloping wildly. Battle 5 Slag? Title? And it had no use at all? And it was intentionally reminding him? And what did that sudden increase in combat strength mean? Could it be that in the future, his realm would be calculated according to his combat strength? A dignified sovereign realm expert only had a combat strength of 5? F*CKU. The script must be wrong, right? Host, your realm and combat strength are 5 in the third universe, ranking at the top. But in the third universe, they are at the bottom. How much is this Clear Sky's combat strength? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and asked rather speechlessly. Host, his combat strength is 7. If you give him a title, he should be fighting 7 Slag. In short, in the third universe, those with less than 1,000 combat strength are all Slag of Slag. Combat strength was only 7? Only after reaching the sovereign realm would one have 5 points of combat strength. When he hadn't reached the sovereign realm, he was able to win against Qing Tian by relying on his undead realm cultivation and a divine skill like all living things slice. If there was a real battle, he probably wouldn't be able to win against Qing Tian. What was Miss Bai's combat strength before? Wang Kai touched his nose and asked in surprise. Host, Miss Bai's combat strength is also 7. Sure enough. Wang Kai was speechless when he heard the prompt. If Miss Bai was very strong, she wouldn't have chosen to sneak attack Qing Tian. It seemed that the reason why Miss Bai and Qing Tian chose to come to the third universe to look for prey was because of their abilities. It's all because of their abilities. In Universe 2, they're nothing but sh*t. As for the Bai family that Miss Bai was in, was it really powerful? Wang Kai didn't know. Battle 7 slag. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and leave. Wang Kai shrugged and said disdainfully, You, how do you know that my combat strength is only 7? Qing Tian's face suddenly turned red, and he stared at Wang Kai with shame and indignation. At first, when Wang Kai asked him what realm he was in, he thought that he didn't know about the second universe. Now it seemed that he knew everything. He also knew that his true combat strength was only 7. Chapter 13:15. Nonsense, of course I know how much your battle power is. Who do you think I am? In the second universe, the one with the highest battle power is me? Wang Kai shrugged and said disdainfully, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 100 experience and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing your battle power by 10 points. Host, Wang Kai title, Battle Power 5 Realm, Supremacy Battle Power, 15 bragging points, 600 experience. 0 out of 100. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai was startled. He frowned and asked puzzledly, Why am I still at the Supremacy Realm? Since my battle power has reached 15 points, shouldn't it be 3 times more powerful than a Supremacy? Host, Supremacy is already the peak realm in the second and third universes. The strength is determined according to the Supremacy's battle power. Wang Kai, who suddenly understood, couldn't help but curl his lips. I'm afraid your battle power hasn't reached 7 yet, right? Hee. You're the rumored trash in the second universe whose battle power is only 5, right? Qing Kong frowned and ridiculed with disdain. Through the battle with Wang Kai, he naturally knew how much his battle power was. In fact, Wang Kai's battle power wasn't even 5. Calling him a battle power 5 was naturally to mock him. Sorry, I'm different from ordinary people. My battle power can be improved according to the battle. For example, after the battle with you, my battle power increased to 15 points. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually. When he released his aura, Qing Kong's face suddenly changed. The intensity of this battle power was indeed 15 points. Are you a Super Saiyan? Qing Kong was startled and looked at Wang Kai with some shock. Damn, in the second universe, is there a Super Saiyan? Wang Kai touched his nose, looking a little speechless. Cough, cough. No, I heard that there are a few system owners who seem to have transmigrated. I always thought that they were Super Saiyans. Qing Kong said rather awkwardly. Not only is there a system owner, but he also transmigrated. Hearing this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking that this was going to be interesting. Knowing about Super Saiyan proved that they came from the same place. Since they came from the same place, wouldn't they be kindred spirits? This is not a secret in the second universe. Qing Kong said casually. Forget it. After the competition between the various great sects, I will go to the second universe with you. I want to see how powerful the experts there are. Super Saiyan. By the way, those transmigrators who said they were Super Saiyans, when they fight, will their hair change color? Halfway through his words, Wang Kai furrowed his brows and asked curiously. Yes, there are 3 types of gold, then there's black, and then there's pink. It's like a traffic light. It's quite interesting, Clear Sky said with a pout. Traffic lights? Hearing this, Wang Kai was startled and asked in surprise, Do you know what traffic lights are? Nonsense, in the second universe. There are even TVs. Who doesn't know what traffic lights are? Qing Kong said with disdain. Obviously, he was looking at an idiot. The second universe, it's quite interesting. Wang Kai touched his nose. He really wanted to go there as soon as possible. How long has it been since he went to a bar and had sex? Let's go pick flowers first. Wang Kai grabbed a handful of his beard and immediately covered his face with a black cloth. It could be said that he was a masked man. Qin Kong did the same and followed closely behind. It's still daytime? Are we going to pick flowers? Shouldn't we wait until nighttime to take action? Qin Kong was speechless as he followed behind. If it weren't for the fact that he only had one Shikigami, he really wanted to fight with Wang Kai. Even if he couldn't win, he could rely on his Shikigami to escape, right? Combat power of 7 and combat power of 15. One is lower and one is higher, but in the end, the difference is not big. It's easy to escape. Are you an idiot? If we go to pick flowers at night, it's dark and we can't see anything clearly. Is it necessary for us to dress up like this? Besides, it's more exciting to see clearly during the day. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. Ahem, the flowers you want to pick, are they ordinary people? Qin Kong was speechless and asked. Even at night, as a cultivator, he should be able to achieve night vision, right? Bang! Wang Kai abruptly turned around and slapped Qin Kong, causing him to tumble. F***CKU. Can't you not find trouble? Just follow me. Wang Kai was speechless. He turned around and went up the mountain angrily. Junior sister, what are you doing here? In a courtyard. Li Ruin was sitting in front of a table, looking at the sky. She was absent-minded. Next to her, Nyoja Tian was sleeping on the ground with his eyes closed. Ah, it's senior brother Lin. Nothing, I just feel bored, Li Ruin exclaimed. When she saw that it was Lin Feng, she immediately lost interest. Junior sister Li, you can't be thinking about that Wang Kai, right? Lin Feng furrowed his brows and asked with displeasure. He clearly knew that when Li Wenru had challenged the Wushuan Dao Gate, she had already invited Wang Kai to marry her, but her request had been rejected. No, why would I think about him? Li Ruin pursed her red lips and blushed. Indeed, she was thinking about Wang Kai. After all, he was so powerful at such a young age. Which girl wouldn't like him? Especially as the daughter of a supreme being, she liked powerful people even more. Wang Kai is just a dying man. Junior sister, don't think about him anymore. When the martial arts competition starts, he will definitely die. Lin Feng placed his hands behind him and harumphed disdainfully. Senior brother Lin, what do you mean? With his strength, I'm afraid no one among the younger generation would be a match for him at the martial arts competition. Li Ruin frowned and said unhappily, among the 9 heaven supremes of the 7 great Dao sects, apart from the Wushuan Dao sect, the other 6 9-heaven supremes have decided to execute Wang Kai at the martial arts competition to prevent him from harming our sects in the future. A genius will die young if he's too talented. Lin Feng placed his hands behind him and said with a cold smile, Senior brother Lin, you like me, right? Li Ruin blinked her eyes and asked softly, No, that's right. Junior sister, you're finally willing to. If you like me, are you willing to die for me? Go to hell, you're so annoying. Before Lin Feng could finish, Li Ruin pursed her lips and interrupted him. Whoosh! Lin Feng's face stiffened as he took a few steps back. He was furious at the moment. Ha ha, there, ha ha, robbing. Wang Kai, who had been listening for quite some time, could no longer hold it in and waved his hand while laughing. Chapter 13:16. What a disgusting masked man. How dare he rob the heavenly bone mountain? Li Ruin pursed her red lips and looked at Wang Kai in a daze. Then she looked at the sloppy old man. Li Ruin almost vomited on the spot. Damn it, do you think I want to be like this? Seeing this, Clear Sky was inwardly furious. He was a yin-yang master, but he was looked down upon by a little girl from the 3rd universe. She almost vomited on the spot after looking at him. Qin Kong was extremely annoyed, but he couldn't do anything about it. How dare you? How did you sneak into the Heavenly Bone sect? Lin Feng frowned and reprimanded them sternly. Pucci. At the same time, Nyoja Tian slowly opened his eyes and looked at Wang Kai, then at Qin Kong. He couldn't help but take a few more glances at Wang Kai. However, he didn't find anything in the end, so he closed his eyes again. He pretended that he didn't see anything. I'm famous for picking 80,000 flowers. As the name implies, I'm a flower thief, and I'm determined to pick 80,000 flowers. I've already picked 67,000 flowers as beautiful as this little girl, and I'm still short. Wang Kai pulled off the black cloth. His beard, thick eyebrows, and big eyes were exposed to the air. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing his combat strength by 10 points. Host, Wang Kai title. Combat Strength 5, Trash Realm. Supreme Combat Strength, 25 bragging points, 600 experience. 0 out of 125 combat strength was 5 times more than the combat strength of a Supreme. Wang Kai glanced at it casually and activated his mind to close it. Senior Brother Lin, didn't you just say that you love me very much? Since that's the case, you should break these 2 despicable things and throw them off the heavenly bone mountain. Li Ruin frowned and stood up in disgust. She really didn't want to have any contact with Wang Kai and Qin Kong. That getup was simply too disgusting. She felt like vomiting just by looking at them. It's simple. Lin Feng's face turned ashen. Suddenly, he flipped his hand and threw a palm strike through the air. The might of King Yu's realm pierced through. They condensed into 2 sharp green blades. It was aimed directly at the throats of Wang Kai and Qin Kong. Clang! Wang! Ayo! However, when the sharp blade struck Wang Kai, the sound of metal clashing rang out. Not only was he completely unharmed, it was the cyan sharp blade that was destroyed and dissipated. On the other side, Clear Sky flipped his hand and sent out his spirit-branded retainer. Bestial roars could be heard. Then, a greedy wolf appeared. Qin Kong rode on his back. It angrily opened its mouth and viciously bit down on the sharp green blade. Seeing this, Lin Feng was shocked and instinctively took a few steps back. Who would have thought that 2 filthy bandits who looked like beggars would be so capable? Such a terrifying cultivation. Oh my God, are all the rapists nowadays so powerful? Li Wenru widened her beautiful eyes in disbelief. Logically speaking, shouldn't rapists only exist in the mortal world? Moreover, since they were rapists, it meant that they weren't capable. Otherwise, who would choose to be a rapist? Even going to a brothel was better than taking risks. Of course, if we weren't strong enough, will we be able to pick 67,000 flowers as petite and beautiful as you? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 100 experience and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat strength by 10 points. Senior Brother Lin, what are you waiting for? Kill them quickly. It's disgusting. Li Ruin frowned and snorted in disgust. Hearing this, Lin Feng's face froze. After the attack, just now, how could he have the guts to fight with Wang Kai and Qin Kong? The cultivation strength of the 2 sides was obviously not on the same level. If he attacked again, there would only be a path to death. 2 heroes. May I know where you're from? I am a disciple of the Sky Bone Dao sect. I hope you can let me go and leave. Lin Feng had no choice but to lower his voice and plead with the Earth Saint. He even mentioned the Sky Bone Dao sect. He hoped that Wang Kai and Qin Kong would back off. Nonsense. Of course we know that this is the Sky Bone Dao sect. We also know that you 2 are not simple people. We also know that this little girl is called Li Wenru. She is the apple of the Sky Bone Dao sect's eye. Wang Kai scratched his beard and said disdainfully, That's right. Today, we are going to pluck Li Wenru's flower. If you don't want to die, quickly crawl out. Qin Kong frowned and sneered. He was full of vigor just now. After the fight, he realized that he was no match for Lin Feng, so he begged for mercy. Qin Kong would never let such a trashy person have an easy time. Okay, I will get out. Lin Feng's face was gloomy and scary. He gritted his teeth and lay on the ground. In front of them, he rolled and crawled out of the room. Trash. Qin Kong was extremely disdainful when he saw this. He wanted to kill him on the spot. Lin Feng, you're a useless trash. Li Wenru's face turned pale, and she shouted angrily. She did not expect that Lin Feng would let her go and run away. Looking at the middle-aged man approaching, Li Wenru was so scared that her face turned pale. Niu Zhetian, help me. Help me. Li Wenru anxiously ran to Niu Zhetian's side and raised her foot to kick him. She kept shouting, "Go away. I am not in the mood to care about you." Niu Zhetian glared at her and ran away. Obviously, he did not have the slightest intention to care about her. It showed how much resentment Niu Zhetian had in the Sky Bone Dao sect. If he had the chance, he would have cut the Sky Bone Dao sect into pieces. Don't come over. Don't come over. My father is the Sky Bone Dao sect. He is one of the 7 great supremes of the First District. Do you want to die? If you don't want to die, then don't come over. Before Li Wenru could finish her words, she was grabbed by Wang Kai and brought into the room. A rapist. He did not kidnap her, but went straight to her house to pick her. Does he know what a rapist is? Qin Kong was speechless when he saw this. He sat on the back of the ravenous wolf and chose to stay and guard the courtyard. Don't you want to go in and have fun with her? Niu Zhetian stared at Qin Kong and asked in surprise. I'm a follower, not a rapist. After all, I was forced. Qin Kong shrugged and said casually. He did not like any of the women in the First District. He followed Wang Kai because he had no other choice. Supremes, they're inside. Suddenly, Lin Feng's anxious voice came from outside the courtyard. Chapter 13:17. You're fast. When Qin Kong heard this, he turned his gaze and snorted in disdain. Lin Feng and a middle-aged man led a few hundred elders of the Taoist gate into the hall. He looked at the sloppy old man in the courtyard and Niu Zhetian, who was lying on the ground. Tiangu frowned and said with a gloomy face, "Where's the gentleness? Bastard!" Halfway through his words, Tiangu's face changed, and he rushed into the room. Roar! However, before he could even get close, he was stopped by Tan Lang. Get lost. You're just a demonic beast. Roar! Bang! Suddenly, Tan Lang attacked furiously. With a swipe of his sharp claws, Tiangu was sent flying while vomiting blood. Together with the hundreds of Taoist elders, he was sent flying into the sky. There was no comparison at all. Even the aftermath of the attack was enough to destroy everyone who came. You're the Taoist sect prime, right? I'm sorry, but my companion is in the room, enjoying your daughter. You can wait for a while. Qin Kong waved his hand and said casually, You? Hearing those words, Sovereign Heavenly Bones was so furious that he vomited a mouthful of blood. How could he wait for such a thing to happen? This is impossible. Lin Feng's face was pale. He did not expect Wang Kai and Qin Kong to act so quickly. It had only been a short while, and he had already brought her into the room. Was it the wedding night? Who are you? Why are you doing this to the Sky Bone Dao sect? Sky Bone's Supremacy's eyes were about to crack as he scolded with a fierce face. Are you an idiot? When Qin Kong heard this, he laughed coldly in disdain. He thought to himself, they're already scheming to take Wang Kai's life in the dueling ring. And now he had the nerve to ask why they were doing this to the Sky Bone Dao sect? It was good enough that they didn't destroy the Sky Bone Dao sect. My name is Kai 70,000. The one in the room is my elder brother, Kai 80,000. He's picking your daughter's flower. Do you understand now? If you understand, just wait here quietly. Qin Kong waved his hand disdainfully. Rapist! Supreme Heavenly Bones gritted his teeth as he clenched them tightly. In his anger, he immediately attacked again. However, the result was even more tragic than before. He spat out blood and was sent flying backward. His appearance was simply miserable. As for the hundreds of elders, they did not dare to move at all. Even a supreme being was no match for the other party. If anyone else went up, wouldn't that be a dead end? Oh, I almost forgot to tell you that this disciple of yours has a very bad character. He actually left your daughter behind and begged for mercy to escape. If he could have held on for a while longer, perhaps your daughter would not have been brought into the room. Qin Kong squinted his eyes, stroked his beard, and smiled playfully. Whoosh! Hearing those words, Lin Feng was so scared that his face turned pale. He fell onto his butt and sat on the ground. His entire body trembled as he looked at Heavenly Bones' supremacy. She had never thought that this rapist would actually take the opportunity to harm her. Supreme, I did that because I knew that I was no match for him. So, I took the opportunity to go out and report to you. Otherwise, even if I stayed behind to resist, I would still end up dead. Not only would I not be able to save the young lady's life, but I would also lose my own life, and I would not be able to deliver the news to you. Lin Feng knelt on the ground with a long face and kept kowtowing to beg for mercy. Scram! Go to hell! However, the furious Heavenly Bone's supremacy did not listen to any of his words. As soon as he finished speaking, he slapped Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's body exploded, and he died on the spot. He couldn't be more dead than this. Senior in the room, I hope that you could be magnanimous and let go of Wen Wan. For this, I am willing to pay any price. At all costs. Plop! As he spoke, Heavenly Bone's supremacy bent his knees and knelt on the ground. He only had one descendant, Li Wenwan. How could Heavenly Bone's supremacy allow anything to happen to her? Even a supreme being could not avoid this, let alone the love of his own flesh and blood. Clatter! At the same time, the door was suddenly opened. Wang Kai had already returned to his original appearance. Behind him was Li Wenwan, whose face was blushing and whose eyes were filled with love. Pay any price? Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back and looked at Heavenly Bone's supremacy indifferently. He said calmly, "You seem to have discussed with the other supreme beings to join forces and kill me during the competition, right?" Whoosh! Hearing this, Heavenly Bone's supremacy's face changed color, especially when he looked at the young man before him. It was hard to imagine that such a young man could have such a terrifying cultivation level. Are you Wang Kai from the Wushuan sect?" Heavenly Bone's supremacy frowned and asked with a pale face. "That's right, it's me." Wang Kai nodded his head gently. He then looked at Li Wenwan and said with a frown, "Stay away from me. I didn't do anything to you." Cough, cough. There is something that I hope you can understand. Before I could do anything to your daughter, she almost ate me. He had intended to tease Li Wenwan. How could he really do anything to her? However, after revealing his original appearance, Li Wenwan threw herself at him. Wang Kai was secretly proud of his charm, but he was also speechless. Hearing this, Heavenly Bone's supremacy's face stiffened, especially when he saw Li Wenwan looking at Wang Kai lovingly. In an instant, he believed what Wang Kai had said. F***CK. What took you so long? Nyoja Tian shook his head and stood up. He was speechless. Then, he looked at Heavenly Bone's supremacy and said calmly, "Raise Master Nyo's cultivation. I want to beat him up." Damn it! How dare he use his cultivation to suppress Master Nyo? Do as you wish. Seeing this, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and clapped his hands. He raised Nyo Zhetian's cultivation to the level of a supreme being. Sensing the increase in Nyo Zhetian's aura, Heavenly Bone's supremacy was scared out of his wits. He looked at Wang Kai as if he was looking at a ghost. He could not figure out even if he racked his brains. How could a supreme being be born with such a simple slap? You were very arrogant before, weren't you? You were very good at acting tough, weren't you? Come on, Master Nyo will teach you how to behave. Nyo Zhetian glared at Heavenly Bone's supremacy and attacked him with his four hooves. Heavenly Bone's supremacy's face turned ghastly pale. He quickly waved his hand and met the attack with his palm. Bang! However, Heavenly Bone's supremacy was sent flying with blood spurting out of his mouth. He was pushed back by Nyo Zhetian. Can you let my father go? If you let him go, I will listen to you. I will do whatever you want me to do. Yes, I am willing to pay any price, Li Wenwan said as she lowered her head and pursed her lips. Chapter 13:18. You think too much. It's true that you're willing to do anything, but I don't need it. Wang Kai frowned and spread out his hands helplessly. Skybone's sovereign had used his cultivation to suppress Nyo Zhetian. Nyo Zhetian had become a little girl's mouth. How could Nyo Zhetian not vent his anger? As Nyo Zhetian's old friend, how could he stop him? All he could do now was not to take the initiative to deal with Skybone's sovereign. It was already very kind of him. But just now, didn't you want to take my body? Could it be, could it be that in your eyes, I am really worthless? Li Ruin pursed her red lips and frowned, looking at Wang Kai unwillingly. I'm just here to play. Don't get me wrong. There are many beauties who like me, but I'm very picky. Not every woman can drink my milk. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing your combat strength by 10 points. What's milk? Li Ruin blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at Wang Kai in confusion. She always felt that Wang Kai was too mysterious, whether it was talent, aptitude, or cultivation. Now, even the words he said were so mysterious. It's nothing. One day you'll understand. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. Then, he stepped into the air with the clear sky. Looking down at Nyoja Tian, who was riding Skybone's sovereign and kicking him, Wang Kai couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He thought to himself that if this continued, Nyoja Tian would kick Sovereign Heavenly Bone to death. Forget it. Since you still have some family ties, I'll spare your life. Wang Kai shrugged and secretly sent a message to Nyoja Tian. After Nyoja Tian stopped, they stepped into the air and left the Skybone sect. As for Heavenly Bone supremacy, he was beaten so badly that his bones were exposed. Even his bones were in a shattered state. This time, he truly lived up to his name. Let's go see the Dog King. Find him and let him fight in a martial arts competition. Isn't that a good idea? Wang Kai clasped his hands behind his back and smiled playfully. You can look for that stupid dog, but don't look for that big stupid cat. Grandpa Nyo still wants to take advantage of the fact that I'm stronger than him to give him a good beating, said Nyo Jetian angrily. Hearing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched. Then you go to the Heaven and Earth Dao sect to find the big stupid cat. This kid and I will go to the Xinjian Dao sect where the Dog King is. Wang Kai shrugged. Then, together with Qin Kong, he used his divine sense to search for the Dog King in the direction of the Xinjian sect. Big stupid cat, this time, if Grandpa Nyo doesn't kick you to death, then Grandpa Nyo will have lived in vain. Nyoja Tian opened his eyes wide and burst into laughter. He went straight to the Heaven and Earth Dao sect. The combat power of a Supreme Being was even stronger than that of a Supreme Being. No matter how strong Grandpa Nyo was, he was no match for Nyoja Tian. At the same time, in the Xinjian Dao sect, the Dog King had transformed into a handsome young man. He was sitting in front of a stone table in the courtyard. There were 5 or 6 beautiful women sitting around him. All of them had amazing figures and were extremely charming. All of them were direct disciples of the Xinjian Dao sect, and they were the best of the best. He, the Prince of Dogs, is still very awesome. He reached the Supreme Being realm with his own strength. I'm afraid he's going to surpass Master, right? The Dog King drank his wine happily, feeling very proud of himself. In the past, he had to rely on Wang Kai to show off. Now, it was his turn to help Wang Kai show off and clean up his mess. Thinking of this, the Dog King became even more arrogant and proud. Don't tell me the Dog King you're looking for is this arrogant idiot? In the sky, Qin Kong looked down at the handsome young man in the courtyard and couldn't help but grin with disdain. That look of enjoyment really made Qin Kong very disdainful. It was obvious that he hadn't seen a woman in 800 years. Yes, it's indeed him. This Dog King knows how to play. He even transformed into such a handsome young man and hooked up with 5 or 6 beautiful women. Wang Kai touched his nose and smiled in surprise. With the Dog King's achievements, he was able to get to this point. He was much stronger than Grandpa Nyo and Nyoja Tian. His combat power is only 5. He's also a 5 trash. Qin Kong sneered disdainfully. Naturally, he saw through the Dog King's true cultivation at a glance. However, after hearing this, Wang Kai's expression froze. If the Dog King's combat power was 5 points, didn't that mean that he had broken through to the supremacy stage? He didn't rely on himself to help him improve his cultivation. To be able to reach the supremacy stage, He was much stronger than Grandpa Nyo and Nyo Jation. What's his combat power? In order to confirm, Wang Kai couldn't help but frown and secretly communicate with the system. Host, combat power is 5 points, a real 5 trash. Hearing the system notification, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly and looked at the Dog King in surprise. He didn't expect the Dog King to be so capable. Dog King, come up. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and secretly transmitted his voice. Whoosh! The Dog King, who was enjoying himself, quickly opened his eyes when he heard the familiar voice. When he looked up, he saw Wang Kai. Hee, the era of the Prince of Dogs has come. It's time to show off. The Dog King smiled proudly and said indifferently, I was wondering who it was. Isn't it Wang Kai? Come down and greet me. Hiss! Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately twisted. He couldn't help but take a deep breath. His eyes widened as he looked at him in surprise. He didn't expect the Dog King to be so King awesome. Did he think that the supremacy stage meant that he was invincible? Is he your subordinate or not? Why does he look like your master? Qin Kong put his hands behind his back and rolled his eyes in disdain. If you come up now, I might spare you and not beat you up. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said unkindly, CK, what a coincidence. If you come down now, I won't beat you up. Instead, I'll carry you and show you off. The Dog King proudly took a sip of wine and said happily, Senior Brother Go, who is that young man? Why is he so presumptuous? He even dares to provoke Senior Brother Go. That's right. I think he doesn't want to live anymore. His looks are not bad, and he's quite handsome. It's a pity that he's too bold to provoke Senior Brother Go like this. Isn't he afraid of death? A few beautiful women looked at Wang Kai with disdain. They all thought that Wang Kai was a hothead who came to court death. Chapter 13:19. Don't be rude. He has a close relationship with me. His cultivation is slightly weaker than mine. The Dog King shrugged casually. That arrogant look, that pretentious attitude. It was exactly the same as Wang Kai. Obviously, he had learned the essence of Wang Kai's pretentiousness. You're not coming up? Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back and sneered mockingly. TSK, what a coincidence. I was just about to ask you, are you not going to come down? The Dog King raised his head and waved his hand casually. Clear sky, go down and teach him a lesson. Just leave him alive. Seeing this, Wang Kai was speechless. He waved his hand and looked at Clear Sky. I don't have any more shikigami. Give me a few more. Clear Sky narrowed his eyes and stretched out his hand. He was looking forward to it. Just one. That's enough. Wang Kai flipped his hand and threw a shikigami into his hand. If he gave him a few more, he might even attack him, even if he couldn't defeat him with his current combat ability. But the difference in combat ability wasn't that obvious. If he wanted to escape, he should be able to do it. Defeating armies. Clear Sky had no choice but to hit the shikigami down. It was a loud bang. A huge human figure landed in the courtyard. He was wearing armor and holding a spear in his hand. Waves of ferocious aura flowed out from his body. Where did you get such a weird little brother? Is there such a cultivator in the world? What is this? The Dog King was stunned. He couldn't help but stand up and walk in front of defeating armies. He looked him up and down. He even raised his hand and touched his body. Little brother? You said I'm Wang Kai's little brother? Hearing this, Qin Kong flew into a rage and immediately ordered Pajuan, beat him half to death. Buzz. When the yin and yang power swept down, defeating armies immediately waved his spear. The attack was aimed at the Dog King's waist. CK. Aren't you happy that I'm calling you my little brother? Let's see what I can do. Bang! Before the Dog King could finish his words, his body was sent flying by the long spear in defeating army's hand. Blood spurted out like it was free. That parabola was truly beautiful to the extreme. CK. What the hell is this thing? Why is it so awesome? Bang, 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 bang. In an instant, under the continuous attacks of defeating armies, the Dog King was beaten so badly that he couldn't even speak. He didn't even have the strength to fight back. It was a completely one-sided beating. In the end, they were beaten back to their original form. When a dog king that looked exactly the same as the husky appeared, it was completely different from the previous one. The worried, beautiful women were all startled. All of them stared blankly at the dog king. He's actually a demonic beast in human form? He's a dog demon. Oh my God. I actually slept with a dog? No, no. In an instant, the few beautiful women all screamed in fear. Their beautiful faces were all pale as they fell to the ground. All of them had already fallen into a state where they had lost their souls. This dog king is quite fast. He already slept with them? Wang Kai couldn't help but touch his nose when he heard that. He was secretly impressed. He thought that the dog king was indeed very capable. His cultivation had reached the supreme being realm with his own ability. He had even transformed into a handsome young man and slept with several beautiful women. Looking at Lord Cat and Nyoja Tian, they couldn't be compared to the dog king at all. Cough, cough. You're too evil. You're too evil. How dare you set me up like this? The dog king was furious. After running away for a while, he shouted loudly, "My beloved concubines, don't believe me. I'm just an illusion created by them. They want to vilify me so that they can take you away. In fact, they're all rapists." What? Is that really the case? It must be. We have to believe in our husband. But it's not a bad choice to let them take you away. Look, they're so young and so handsome. They're much better than senior brother Go. That's true. After the beauties regained their senses, they immediately began to discuss among themselves. Some of them even winked at Wang Kai and Qin Kong. The dog king was stunned by this scene. It could be said that 10,000 alpacas were galloping in his heart. He didn't even notice that defeating armies had already attacked him. He was directly pressed to the ground by defeating armies and was beaten up repeatedly. Wah! F***CK your grandmother. I've met the wrong person. Prince of Dogs, I've met the wrong person. The dog king was madly bleeding, and he screamed miserably. The physical pain was nothing compared to the pain in his heart. This dog king is quite pitiful. Do you think you can just pick up a woman so casually? Especially the women in the cultivation world. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back, shook his head, and sighed. The weak were prey to the strong. The strong would naturally be sought after. The weak would either be trampled on by the strong or looked down upon by others. This kind of convention could be said to be too common in the cultivation world. It was just a coincidence that the dog king met them. I told you, the women in the third universe aren't worth wooing. Compared to the beauties in the second universe, they're too different. Qin Kong curled her lips in disdain, and her expression was full of disdain. Don't the women in the second universe have the heart to pursue the strong? This can be seen everywhere for women. Wang Kai frowned and looked at her in surprise. Most of the women in the second universe are stronger than men. Even if some are weaker than men, their hearts are incomparably strong. I'll tell you clearly, the beauties in the second universe all fought their way there. Everyone in the second universe is from the outside world. Yes, in the earliest days, there were no living creatures in the second universe. Now, there are no so-called natives. Qin Kong said proudly, and her expression was extremely proud. If that's the case, does that mean that everyone is a main character, fighting their way to the second universe step by step? If that's the case, the women there are all the cream of the crop. Wang Kai couldn't help but touch his nose and said with admiration, "Of course, when you have the chance to go to the second universe, you'll understand." Qin Kong smiled proudly. "Why are you so arrogant? No matter how awesome you are, didn't you still get beaten up by Miss Bai?" Wang Kai frowned and glanced at him with disdain. "You." Qin Kong's face darkened when she heard that. She was ashamed and angry. Chapter 1320. Senior Sister Yin, cough cough, I won't laugh. I really won't laugh. Don't be angry. Poochie, cough cough. When Xian was having a hard time enduring, she fell to the ground, clutching her stomach, and her face was red. As soon as she saw Wang Kai, when Xian couldn't help but want to laugh. For some reason, the current Wang Kai didn't look so annoying. On the contrary, his face was dark, and he looked very angry. It made Wen Xian very happy. She even wanted to make Wang Kai angry. Sigh. In this world, there will always be people like you. Forget it. I'll ignore you. Wang Kai took a deep breath and waved his hand, no longer paying attention to her. However, in his heart, anger was gathering. Damn it. I'll find a chance to teach you a lesson. If Yin Yin and Wen Xian knew Wang Kai's true thoughts, they didn't know how to feel. Young Master Wang, are you going to participate in the martial arts competition of the 7 Great Dao Sects? In order to avoid continuing the awkwardness, Yin Yin had to change the topic. Yes, I'll participate in it personally. However, I'm going to fight against the 7 Great Dao Sects. As for the elders and disciples, I'll leave it to Niao Zhetian and the others. Wang Kai shrugged and nodded casually. If Niao Zhetian and the others would deal with the 7 Great Dao Sect Supremes, they would also be able to win easily. However, the reason why he held a martial art competition was entirely to show off. The biggest limelight was naturally for him to dominate. Haha, your ability to brag is also an advantage. An advantage. Wen Xian covered her face and laughed coquettishly. She, who had just held back her laughter, couldn't help but laugh again when she heard that Wang Kai was going to fight against the 7 Great Dao Sect Supremes. In this regard, Wang Kai's forehead was full of black lines, and he secretly gritted his teeth. He really wanted to teach Wen Xian a lesson. If some women were not taught a lesson, they would never know that a man's dignity could not be ignored or challenged. I heard from you that the Sky Bone Dao Sect Sovereign Sky Bone has been defeated by your pet. Sovereign Sky Bone wants to join forces with the other sovereigns to kill you in the martial competition. Do you have a way to deal with this? Yin Yin pursed her red lips and spoke again helplessly. She originally wanted to change the topic, but she didn't expect that Wen Xian would find it funny again. Now, he could only say some things to let Wen Xian believe in Wang Kai's ability. After all, being able to defeat Heavenly Bone Supremacy proved that Wang Kai's strength was definitely not weak. You defeated Sovereign Sky Bone? Was he that powerful? Hee, even in my dreams, I can defeat him, hee. As she spoke, Wen Xian covered her face and giggled again. In the end, they lost all their strength and lay on the ground. He laughed so hard that his stomach started to hurt. Junior Sister 1. I believe that young Master Wang is capable of doing so. Yin Yin furrowed her brows. She was truly enraged. She had tried to change the topic many times in vain. However, Wen Xian found something funny every time. She even took this opportunity to laugh at Wang Kai. She didn't know the consequences of provoking Wang Kai like this. Wen Xian didn't believe that Wang Kai had the ability to destroy a sovereign. However, Yin Yin believed it. That was why she helped Wen Xian change the topic. She didn't want her to provoke Wang Kai too much. I told you, the women of the third universe are stupid and ignorant. They can't see through the ability of a true expert. They can't tell who's strong and who's weak. Qing Kong slowly walked into the second floor with his hands behind his back. He glanced at Wen Xian with disdain. Bastard, you're just a follower of Wang Kai. Where did you get the courage to go up to the second floor? Not only did you come uninvited, but you also dare to speak disrespectfully to me? Do you know where this Wushuan Dao Sect is? Wen Xian frowned, sat up, and stared at him with an unfriendly gaze. Wushuan Dao Sect? Where is that? Qing Kong shrugged and said disdainfully. Isn't the answer simple? It's a gathering place for trash. I'll kill you. Wen Xian was furious. She didn't expect Wang Kai's follower to be so arrogant. She immediately got up, waved her slender arms, and attacked Qing Kong. Haha, you and I stop it. Under Yun Yan's begging, Wang Kai had to step in to resolve the situation. Qing Kong didn't send out his Shikigami. Wen Xian was so shocked that she took a few steps back. Junior Sister 1, he's very strong. Don't provoke him. Even young Master Wang would have to rely on schemes to win a battle against him. If Lord Wang hadn't stopped you, you would have died. Yin Yin frowned and reminded her telepathically. She had seen Qing Kong and Miss Bai's abilities before. Yin Yin was on high alert. She didn't know that Wang Kai had completely surpassed Qing Kong, so she didn't dare to let Wen Xian provoke Qin Kong. Otherwise, no one would be able to stop them. Wang Kai, quickly solve the problem in the third universe, and then come with me to the second universe. There, you will meet many extremely strong and intelligent beauties. They are much better than this ignorant, stupid woman, Qin Kong said with disdain, with his hands behind his back. Who are you calling stupid? Wen Xian clenched her teeth, extremely embarrassed. No, I only love Yenner. No matter how outstanding the other girls are, they won't be able to enter my eyes. Wang Kai shook his head gently and looked at Yin affectionately. He smiled softly and said, I am now deeply in love and can't extricate myself. Hearing this, Qin Kong's mouth twitched. How could he not know that Wang Kai was deliberately showing off? He was obviously a lecher through and through. Yet, he pretended to be like it was true. On the contrary, he had unknowingly helped him achieve his goal. Lord Wang, don't look at me like that. Yin pursed her red lips and blushed. She was extremely shy. Wang Kai confessed to her so affectionately in front of others. How could Yin, who had never experienced love, take it? I only look at you like this. Lord Wang. Wang Kai and Yin acted as if no one else was around as they indulged in their love. Obviously, Yin Yan's mind was in a complete mess. She didn't even remember that Qin Kong and Wen Xian were beside her. Senior Sister Yin, don't fall for his trick. He just wants to trick you and eat you up. He will definitely have a lot of women. Definitely. Wen Xian quickly ran between the two and shook Yin Yan's shoulder, reminding her solemnly. Yin came back to her senses and exclaimed shyly. She turned her head and pursed her red lips. She was so shy that she couldn't say a word. You really don't know how to be romantic and unreasonable. Forget it. For Yin Er's sake, I won't argue with you. Wang Kai snorted impatiently. Chapter 1321. At the 5 Xiandao sect. The proud battle platform had been abandoned for 2 months because of Wang Kai's troubles. At this moment, the people from the 6 sects were all sitting around. The 5 Xiandao sect was the host, and the 4 elders were the hosts of the competition. The leader of the 5 Xiandao sect, Unravel, and the other 6 supremes were the hosts. They sat on the highest seats and chatted with each other. Obviously, there wasn't the slightest hint of hostility. Wang Kai was quite dissatisfied with this. He had wanted to let the 7 sects fight with each other. Unfortunately, Niuzha Tian, Cat Lord, and the Dog King were called back. As a result, they did not succeed. However, Wang Kai still did not intend to let them go. Otherwise, what was the point of this competition? Run. Punch the female supremes next to you in the chest immediately. Yes, the old man on your right. Slap him in the eye. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and secretly sent a voice transmission to the sky. Niuzha Tian, Cat Lord, Dog King, and Qin Kong. Yin and Wen Xian followed beside them. Is this really okay? Ren's mouth twitched when he heard the voice transmission. He looked at the beautiful supremes next to him and then looked at the old man on his right. For a moment, it could be said that black lines appeared on his forehead. This kind of thing had never been done before. It was fine to hit someone. When had he ever hit a female supremes in the chest and an old man in the mouth? Wouldn't it be better to just start a fight? Wouldn't it be embarrassing to do so? How could the supremes of the Taoist sect do such a thing? I told you to fight, so just fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and said rather speechlessly, if the 2 supremes join forces, it will be very troublesome for me. Run had no choice but to tell the truth. Fighting 2 supremes at the same time and humiliating them in a way to infuriate them. At that time, it would definitely evolve into a life and death battle. I'm here, what are you afraid of? Don't worry when you're about to die. I'll help you and make you the number 1 of the 7 supremes. Wang Kai shrugged and said in a rather speechless voice transmission. Hearing this, Wen finally calmed down. He was even secretly happy, becoming the number 1 supremes of the 7 supremes. This title would be the most useful in the 1st district. Thinking of this, Ren looked at the 2 people next to him. and supremes of the seven supremes of the seven supremes of the seven supremes of the seven supremes of the supremes of the seven supremes. Supremes of the supremes of the supremes of the supremes of the supremes. Her supremes it was. Brother, what are you looking at? The supreme beauty frowned. She naturally noticed when Renren's gaze. For a moment, her face turned slightly red, and she questioned him softly with some displeasure. Supremes were of the supremes of supremes of the supreme supremes of the seven supremes of supremes of the supremes of the supremes of the supremes of supremes of the supremes of supremes of the supremes of the of you of. Are you trying to ambush me? The supremes of the supremes stroked his beard and stared at him warily. His gaze was simply too suspicious. It was obviously a gaze that harbored ill intentions. Ahem, this... Renren was embarrassed. After all, he really didn't know how to answer. Wait, that woman over there, let me do it. Are you prepared now? When that female utmost exalted screams, you are to give that old man beside her a tight slap. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. Then, he stretched his hand into the void. At the same time, beside Renren, Wang Kai's hand slowly stretched out. The moment it appeared, it was aimed at the chest of the middle-aged supremes of the supremes. He grabbed it fiercely. Oh, brother one, if you're interested in me, why do you have to do this? However, something that shocked Wang Kai happened. He thought that the middle-aged supremes of the supremes would be furious. He didn't expect that she would actually let out a soft gasp. Furthermore, that enormous power was completely withstood by her. She even seemed to be enjoying it. What the hell? So this beauty was interested in Renren? What? Renren frowned and looked at her in confusion. Just a moment ago, he was fully focused and prepared to respond to the call and make a move against that old man. But after waiting for a long time, there was no scream. On the other hand, the female supreme martial artist beside him started to pant shyly. Just like Renren, the other supreme beings did not notice Wang Kai's secret attack. The gap between them was simply too huge. They couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. You just grabbed my private part, and you're still playing dumb with me? Brother one, you're really bad. The supreme beauty pursed her red lips, her face flushed red. She secretly transmitted her voice filled with hidden bitterness. When Ren's expression froze. Then, he suddenly came to his senses. After all this time, Wang Kai had already made his move. However, she did not scream out loud. Instead, she was very happy. F***ck, what a bitch. Renren frowned and cursed in disdain. But on the surface, he frowned and said indifferently, "So what if I grabbed it? You don't want to?" "Of course I want to. If you didn't get married and have children back then, I wouldn't have married someone else. Let's go somewhere else. The competition hasn't started yet. We should be able to make it." The supreme beauty's face became redder and redder. She secretly transmitted her voice and suggested shyly, "Go somewhere else." Hearing this, Renren despised her even more. He said indifferently, "There's no need to go somewhere else. Let's do it here. You can close your eyes and wait. But wait a moment, you must scream out loud. Why do you have such a bad taste? It's one thing to sneak it in front of everyone, but you want me to scream out loud?" The supreme beauty pursed her red lips tightly, her expression becoming more and more embarrassed and angry. She never thought that Renren would have such a bad taste. "Just scream when I tell you to. Do you understand?" Renren frowned and said impatiently. If she didn't scream, how could he listen and make a move on the supreme being old man? Okay. I'll embarrass myself for you. You must remember to take responsibility. Otherwise, I'll kill you." The supreme beauty pursed her red lips, her face becoming redder and redder as she transmitted her voice. "Brother Renren, you can start now. I'll close my eyes." After saying those words, the beautiful utmost exalted closed her eyes. Moreover, her long eyelashes were trembling slightly. She was obviously nervous. "Young Master Kai, hurry up and make a move on her." "I'm ready." Renren frowned slightly and transmitted his voice secretly. Wang Kai grinned and looked at the supreme beauty. After thinking for a while, he reached out his hand and penetrated the void. At the same time, his palm appeared under the supreme beauty's seat. Chapter 1322. You're going to do it from below? F***CK. This time, when Rinrin was paying attention, when he saw a palm appear under the chair of the beautiful woman, he was shocked. Brother one, you could go somewhere else. That place won't work. Why don't we go somewhere else? Okay, I'll be embarrassed. At the same time, the beautiful woman also felt something. Naturally, she knew that there was an extra palm under the chair. She completely thought that it was when Rinrin's hand. What's there to change? This is crack. Suddenly, before when Rinrin could finish speaking, the chair was directly smashed into pieces by Wang Kai's hand. At the same time, the beautiful woman suddenly opened her eyes. Her pretty face was as pale as paper, and she screamed in pain as she flew into the sky. His miserable and furious appearance caused everyone to be shocked, even when Rinrin was stunned. He looked at the hole in the chair that was broken. With a gulp, he swallowed his saliva. How painful was that? How could a dignified, supreme being fly into the sky by herself? Moreover, that shocking scream sounded as if she was about to die. What happened? The other supreme beings also couldn't help but look at the chair at this moment. When they saw the hole on it, the corners of their mouths twitched fiercely. Then they looked at the beautiful woman who flew into the sky. The way she covered her buttocks. Who didn't know what had just happened? When Rinrin, you're really awesome. Ahem, brother one. This old man admires you. You're the first person to be able to hit the sky with just one shot. Damn it. Don't you pay attention to the situation? It's fine if you secretly touch each other. But how can you be so ruthless? Aren't you afraid that you'll smash her there? Black lines appeared on the foreheads of the few supreme beings as they spoke out, expressing their utter disdain. Hearing this, when Rinrin's face turned green, especially their words, they didn't lower their voices at all. It was obvious that they deliberately said it loudly. This caused everyone from the 7 great Taoist sects present to know what had happened. For a moment, there were strange and admiring gazes. They all looked at Wenrindao. Your father's taste is really heavy. I really didn't expect that. Awesome. In the void, Wang Kai rubbed his nose and continued to praise as if nothing had happened. Wan Xian, who was at the side, was already flushed red. She was so ashamed that she could not show her face. She never thought that her father would have such a relationship with another female 9 Heaven Supreme. He even did such a despicable thing in such a solemn occasion. Amazing. This sort of skill, hand speed, and offensive strength is likely much stronger than that brat Lu Tian, right? Neoja Tian's eyes widened in admiration. Cat Lord shuddered when he heard this. Obviously, he also remembered Lu Tian's cunning fighting style. It was a play style that completely targeted the chrysanthemum. Master, I really want to take him as my master. The Dog King exhaled and stared with fierce eyes as he exclaimed in admiration. Go and take him as your master. When Xian finally couldn't bear it anymore, she shouted angrily and ran away in the air with a red face. Obviously, she didn't want to stay here any longer. The words of Wang Kai and the others, as well as the gazes of countless people looking at her father, made Wen Xian feel ashamed. Young Master Kai, what should we do now? You got me in trouble. When Rindao smiled bitterly and secretly complained through voice transmission. When Rindao, at the same time, before Wang Kai could respond to him, in the sky, the middle-aged female 9 Heaven Supreme immediately glared at Wen Rindao with shame and indignation. Moreover, her standing posture was obviously a little twisted. It was as if she couldn't straighten her back. One could vaguely see that the back of her dress was deeply sunken. From this, one could see how fierce that force was. It was so painful that the female 9 Heaven Supreme didn't dare to pull her dress out. Ahem, what happened just now has nothing to do with me. When Rindao had no choice but to explain with a faint expression. However, such words, Not a single person believed him. It was obvious from the look in their eyes that he was the one who did it. It really wasn't me. It was him. When Rindao helplessly frowned and pointed at the old Nine Heavens Supreme next to him. Whoosh! Hearing this, the old Nine Heavens Supreme immediately flew into a rage. He stood up with a red face and scolded. When Rindao, stop bullsh asterisk ting. What does this have to do with the old man? That's right. A man should bear the consequences of his own actions. To think that you're a dignified Taoist Supreme. The other Nine Heavens Supreme all ridiculed him with disdain. If you love me, then put the blame on him. When Rindao frowned and could only choose to send a voice transmission secretly. The eyes of the beautiful Supreme in the air flickered when she heard the voice transmission. She looked at him with endless love and said while clenching her teeth, Supreme Gu, you dare to sneak an attack on me? Do you want to die? Whoosh! The moment her voice fell, the whole place fell silent. So it really wasn't when Rindao who did it? It was that old Nine Heaven Supreme who did it? What the F asterisk CK are you talking about? The old Nine Heavens Supreme flew into a rage. He stood up and scolded, You stupid woman, why did you put the blame on the old man? If the old man really touched you, then so be it. The point is that the old man didn't touch you at all. Shut up. I'll kill you. Buzz. Rumble. In an instant, the female Nine Heaven Supreme descended from the sky and attacked the old Nine Heaven Supreme. However, before the attack landed, then he felt a sharp pain in his back, and he lost his balance and fell to the ground. His expression was one of extreme pain. How ruthless is this? As expected of an old man, he really knows how to play. Many disciples praised him one after another. Obviously, they all admired the old Nine Heaven Supreme very much. The old Nine Heaven Supreme was extremely sullen for a moment. From the beginning to the end, he didn't touch her at all. But in the end, he was the one to blame. If it was slander, it wouldn't matter if he fought with the female Nine Heaven Supreme. The point was that he fell to the ground in pain before the fight even started. What else could he do to her in such a miserable state? When Rindao, F asterisk CKU, if the old man doesn't kill you today, I swear I'm not human. The old Nine Heavens Supreme roared furiously and immediately attacked when Rindao. Do you think I'm afraid of you? When Rindao wasn't afraid at all, which was exactly what Wang Kai wanted. Young Master Wang, this isn't your doing, right? Yin Yin blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at Wang Kai suspiciously. She felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. How could it be me? Wang Kai spread out his hands and said rather aggrievedly. Chapter 1323. In an instant, when Ren and the old man Jizun, they fought high up in the sky. Waves of power flew and collided. Every move was ruthless and terrifying. His speed and strength caused everyone to look over in shock. A battle between Jizun was simply too rare. Now, many disciples and elders of the various sects who came to watch the martial arts competition. All of them raised their heads and watched the battle in the sky with full attention. Damn you, Jizun, I'll kill you. At the same time, the beautiful Jizun used her cultivation to get rid of the pain. She also jumped into the air and attacked the old man, Jizun, together with Ren. The two of them, who were originally evenly matched, instantly showed signs of strength and weakness. Two Jizun fighting one Jizun. The old man, Jizun, could be said to be miserable. He was also furious. No matter what, he had to fight to the end. Below, the four Jizun sat on the chairs. Looking up at the battle circle in the sky, they couldn't help but smile at each other. These three people are quite interesting. Haha, even I want to join in. There's no harm in going over to fight, but I wonder how to fight. Hee. Of course, when Ren will be the main target. Don't forget, in his 5 Xiandao sect, there's a genius called Wang Kai. We have to get rid of him. In the end, a relatively short middle-aged Jizun stroked his mustache and smiled coldly. The other 3 Jizun, except for Jizun, all sneered in agreement. We must not provoke the 5 Xiandao sect. I have to go over and help when Ren. Although it will be difficult for the three Jizun to fight against the four of them, they won't lose. Jizun thought to himself, then stepped into the air. Brotherwin, Sister Lon, let me lend you a hand. In an instant, with the addition of Jizun, the old man Jizun was immediately beaten until he vomited blood and retreated. 1 against 2 was already the limit, and he was tired of resisting. Now that he was fighting against 3, how could he resist? F*CKU. Jizun, are your bones rusty? How dare you? Wah. Bang. F*CKU. Let's fight. Without waiting for the old man to finish speaking, Sovereign Heavenly Bones slapped him. Immediately, he was sent flying while vomiting blood. It could be said that the screams were endless. What is Sovereign Heavenly Bone doing? Didn't we agree to work together to deal with the 5 profound out gate? What's said will change. Don't forget, that stupid woman is already on one Rendao's side. The faces of the 3 supreme martial artists were extremely ugly. They looked at each other and stepped into the air together. Brother Gu, we're here to help you. In an instant, the 3 supreme beings joined the fray. Together with the supreme being Old Man, the situation was reversed in an instant. Instantly, when Ren, the beautiful female Prime, and Prime Heavenly Bones were forced to retreat. However, they were in a stalemate. It would be very difficult to determine the victor. The battle of the 7 Supremes. Who would have thought that I would be able to witness such an exciting battle in my lifetime? The disciples and elders of the 7 great sects cheered excitedly. No one had the ability to stop a battle between supreme martial artists. The only thing they could do now was to watch the battle with all their attention. Moreover, the powerhouses at the elder level. They could also comprehend their own Tao from the battle between supreme martial artists and seek a way to break through their cultivation realms. The other genius disciples could also take the opportunity to comprehend. These 7 idiots do have some ability. In the void, Neojatian opened his eyes wide and grinned. Beside him, the Cat Lord and the Dog King were extremely disdainful. With their current cultivation and combat strength, it would be extremely easy for them to defeat the 7 Supremes. Why are they like this? Yin Yin pursed her red lips and frowned. She looked extremely puzzled. At the same time, she inadvertently looked at Wang Kai suspiciously. She had a feeling that the 7 Supremes had begun to fight. It had a lot to do with Wang Kai. However, Yin Yin couldn't tell where the feeling came from. She couldn't figure it out. Those 3 utmost exalted are quite daring. Wang Kai had his hands behind his back. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. His expression was a little cold. To think that they were actually discussing how to destroy him. If he hadn't taught Supreme Sky Bone a lesson before, he was afraid that even he would deal with Wen Rindao now. Also, he didn't attack the beautiful Supreme Martial Artist, causing her to misunderstand Wen Rindao's words. Among the 7 Supremes, at least 6 of them would fight Wen Rindao together. Dog King, hide and sneak attack the 4 Supreme Martial Artists one by one. Don't kill them. Just make them suffer and embarrass themselves in public. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and ordered with a cold smile. Master, don't worry. The Prince of Dogs will take care of this matter. The Dog King grinned and laughed softly. Then, his eyes widened and his figure disappeared. Seeing this scene, Yun Yin pursed her red lips and asked in surprise, What do you want to do? Nothing. They want to join forces to kill me, so I'll make them suffer. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually, F*CKU. You actually used such despicable methods? F*CK. Who slapped my butt? F*CKU. Who grabbed my private part? In an instant, the 4 supreme martial artists were all furious from embarrassment. Some covered their buttocks and retreated. Some covered their abdomens with ashen faces. Some of them even held their hands in front of their chests. All of a sudden, the 4 supreme martial artists' faces all turned red, and they were extremely furious. Such a situation directly caused Wen Rindao and the others to frown. Their expressions were indescribably weird. Who was the one who attacked in the dark? They actually used such methods to deal with the 4 supreme martial artists? Wouldn't this cause them to lose all face? It could be seen from the stunned expressions of the disciples and elders below. Their bodies had already stiffened and their eyes were stunned. Forget about the battle between supreme martial artists. The key was that defensive posture. What did it mean? Could it be that the battle between the supreme martial artists attacked the place? Were they all shameful places? If that was the case, the supreme martial artists were too ruthless, right? It seems that if we want to reach the supreme martial artist level, we must learn their attacking methods and methods. That's right. Chest, lower body, but wherever it makes people embarrassed, hit it. That's right. After watching the battle between the supreme martial artists, it has really enlightened us. Many elders and disciples furrowed their brows. They were deep in thought as they felt the same way. Now it's time for us to show off. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and smiled proudly. Lord Cat can't wait any longer. Hurry up and finish them off, okay? Lord Cat stroked his beard and smiled faintly. Lord Neo is enough. You guys just watch. Neo Jatian wagged his tail and said in a muffled voice. Chapter 1324. Master, let me help you. Buzz. Suddenly, the four great elders looked at each other, roared in unison, and stood up. The four great divine beasts circled around them. The four of them merged into one. They became a giant with a ferocious look in his eyes. Moreover, his cultivation aura rose to the supreme being level. The four great elders of the Wushuan Dao sect. Seeing this, the four supreme beings frowned. Their expressions were ugly, and their eyes were filled with fear. The two of them were not supreme beings. However, they were one of the supreme being level experts. Apart from Fairy Yun, the four great elders were the second. Buzz. Then, under the combined attack of the four great elders, the battle was turned around again. Even though they were not as strong as the real supreme being level experts, they could hold on for an hour. An hour was already their limit. Wang Kai, quickly go and help them. If the four symbols elders use such a secret technique, they will definitely suffer extremely great damage in an hour. Yin pursed her red lips and said softly. Hearing this, Wang Kai shrugged and called back the Dog King. He nodded and said, this is simple. Is this woman your master? Suddenly, the void was torn apart. A middle-aged beauty in a white dress walked out from it. She held a 3-foot-long sword in her hand. Her aura was also at the supreme being level. The moment this woman appeared, Wen Rindao and the four great elders were overjoyed. Fairy Yin, you came at the right time. Quickly join forces and beat them back. Wen Rindao narrowed his eyes and laughed heartily. Fairy Yin nodded slightly. She looked deeply at Wang Kai, who was beside Yin Yin. Then, she held the 3-foot-long sword in her hand. Together with Wen Rindao and the others, they attacked the four supreme beings. In an instant, it was 3 against 4. It became 5 against 4. Even though the four great elders and Fairy Yin relied on external forces to obtain the supreme being level battle strength, they could still be evenly matched with the supreme beings for a short period of time. They were originally fighting the four supreme beings easily. Instead, he became exhausted from resisting. It could be said that he was suffering unspeakably. Damn it! If I had known this would happen, I would have killed the four elders and Fairy Yun back then. Assholes, I didn't expect their strength to be comparable to the 9 Heaven Supremes. At first, I thought they were bluffing. It's too late to say anything now. Quickly use your full strength and delay until the time limit of the four symbols elder secret technique is over. That's right. That's all we can do now. However, I wonder what sort of secret technique Fairy Yun used to increase her battle strength. And how long can she last? It doesn't matter how long she can last, as long as she can drag out the death of the four symbols elders first. At that time, even if it's 4 against 4, we can still beat them. Yes, the battle prowess of a supreme being isn't a true supreme being after all. Soon after, the four supreme beings finished their discussion. Each of them exerted all of their strength and attacked ferociously. In an instant, the terrifying extent of the battle circle. It was countless times more ferocious than before. It could be said that the void was shattered, the clouds scattered, and lightning flashed. The disciples and elders below were all horrified and fearful. Wang Kai, hurry up and do something. My master's battle prowess comes from her bloodline, not from a secret technique. The reason why she is said to be stronger than the four symbols elders is that she can last a little longer. However, after a long time, her bloodline will be exhausted and she will die. Yin Yin pursed her red lips and said with a worried expression, if it weren't for the fact that her cultivation was not strong enough, she would have rushed over to help. With the current power of the battle between supreme beings, the battle prowess of a supreme being was lower than that of a supreme being. Once they got close, they would be turned into ashes. If it weren't for the 7 supreme beings, the 4 symbols elders, and Fairy Yun, they were all deliberately hiding from the disciples and elders below. There would have been a river of blood, and no one would be left alive. Well, watch carefully. Wang Kai nodded slightly, and then stepped forward. Under the sweeping power, both sides were shaken and were forced to take dozens of steps back. At the same time, Niuzha Tian, the Cat Lord, the Dog King, and Qin Kong appeared at the side. Qin Kong was riding on the greedy wolf, and beside him stood the army destroyer. In addition to Niuzha Tian, the Cat Lord, and the Dog King, they were quite powerful. You are just supreme beings. Why are you fighting? Ben Shao is tired of this kind of battle, you know? Wang Kai frowned, a disdainful smile on his face. Young Master Kai. Skybone's supreme being's face was serious as he quickly went forward and bowed respectfully. When Ren did the same. Seeing this, Fairy Yun, the 4 symbols elders, and the beautiful supreme being were all stunned. They were all stunned. The 4 supreme beings on the opposite side were also shocked. Then, they looked at the disciples and elders below. They were already looking at Wang Kai with dull eyes. Is this the rumored genius of the 5 Xian Daoist sect, Wang Kai? Even the supreme beings have to bow to him? How is this possible? Whether it was the disciples and elders of the 5 Xian Daoist sect or the people of the other sections. At this moment, all of them were shocked. They could not believe what was happening in front of them. Are you Wang Kai? Humph, you came at the right time. I'll kill you. At least I won't have to. Bang. Boom. Suddenly, before the supreme being could finish his words. With a flick of Wang Kai's finger, his body immediately exploded in the air. He turned into a rain of blood and fell down. Damn! Such a scene caused everyone to be shocked on the spot. One move, and it was just a flick. He turned a supreme being of the Taoist sect into ashes with just a flick of his finger. How strong was Wang Kai exactly? You. The faces of the remaining 3 9 Heaven Supremes turned pale and tensed up. They never thought that Wang Kai's cultivation would be so terrifying. If they knew this, who would dare to secretly plot to kill him? Fortunately, I received a beating early on. Otherwise, I would have been the one to turn into ashes today. Supreme Being Heavenly Bones swallowed his saliva and felt extremely fortunate. The beautiful Supreme Being pursed her lips and thought to herself, I really have to thank Brotherwin this time. If he didn't express his love for me, wouldn't I have to face such a terrifying young man together with him? Master. At the same time, Yun Yin flew over and bowed slightly to Fairy Yun. Is he your husband? Fairy Yin placed her hands behind her back and asked softly while looking at Wang Kai. He? Hearing this, Yun Yin pursed her red lips as her face turned red. She had no idea how to answer Fairy Yin. I am indeed her husband. Nice to meet you. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and glanced at her casually. He then transmitted his voice secretly. Fairy Yun, you are quite pretty. Your disciple and I are husband and wife. In order for the two of you to be together, why don't you obey me and secretly become my lover? Chapter 1325. Ow! How can you say such words? Fairy Yun had never imagined that Yun Yan's husband would say such a thing. For a moment, her face became extremely cold. She pursed her red lips and stared at Wang Kai with an unfriendly gaze. In consideration of Yun Yan's feelings, she did not say it directly. Instead, she chose to secretly send a voice transmission to question Wang Kai. If you want it, then forget it. I just said it casually. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and shrugged casually. He thought that he could get both his master and his disciple. But in the end, he was greatly disappointed. I hope you don't have such thoughts again. Fairy Yin frowned and sent a voice transmission to remind him. Wang Kai did not care about this at all. There are 3 left. Neoja, Tian, Dog King, Cat Lord, you guys go and play with them. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and waved his hand casually. Hee, you have to satisfy Lord Neo. Neoja Tian chuckled, then shot toward one of the paragons. Cat Lord and Dog King followed closely behind. They all chose the Supremes and fought. And this battle lasted for a full 3 days and 3 nights. This caused everyone's attention to be completely focused on the battle. They could not imagine. Neo, Cat, and Dog. Were they actually so powerful? On top of that, it was obvious that they could easily defeat the 3-9 Heaven Supremes. But they did not do so. Instead, they deliberately delayed the end of the battle. They were humiliating them in various ways. Because of this, they also knew who had secretly attacked them before. Dog King's moves were all aimed at the vital and embarrassing parts of people. It could be said that it was impossible to guard against. It's time to go to the second universe. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. In the Cloud Tower, Qin Kong immediately stood up and said in a deep voice, I can't wait any longer. Let's go back now. Why are you so anxious? Are you going to take revenge on Miss Bai? Wang Kai looked at him with a teasing look. I won't take revenge on her. How could Clear Sky, who knew the relationship between Wang Kai and Miss Bai, tell the truth? What are you talking about? Looking for Miss Bai? Yun Yin furrowed her brows and looked suspiciously at Wang Kai. It's nothing. It's the woman who tried to assassinate us last time. If we go to the second universe, we will teach her a lesson. Right, Clear Sky? Wang Kai waved his hand and quickly changed the topic. Yes, that's right. Qin Kong nodded, his expression as usual. He didn't look like he was lying at all. Are you leaving? Yun Yin pursed her red lips and asked softly. When the time comes, I'll bring you to the second universe. Wang Kai stepped forward and hugged her. Now that the beauty had not even been brought to bed, how could he give up now? I want to go too. When Xian gritted her teeth and looked at Wang Kai stubbornly. Regarding this, Wang Kai was truly speechless. He really wanted to reject her directly, but thinking about her beauty, he would bring her along. There was no harm in finding an opportunity to take her down. Thinking about it like this, it didn't matter anymore. It's over. Those pieces of trash are all dead. Neoja Tian stepped back in displeasure. Cat Lord and Dog King also looked unsatisfied. They originally wanted to continue the battle, but the 3 Supremes couldn't hold on. In the end, unwilling to be humiliated, they all self-destructed and died. The 3 of you find Fatty Lu and the others and lead the Divine Palace to completely control the first universe. From now on, the Divine Palace will be in charge of the third universe. Well, starting from the 4th universe, all the way to the 7th universe, they will all belong to the Divine Palace. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and said playfully, until now, the universe that had not been to. Only the second universe and the strongest universe, the first universe, were left. Since that was the case, the rest of the universes would naturally be in their hands. It would be carried out according to Wang Kai's bragging. The 7 masters of the universe were set. Then you want to go to the second universe? Neoja Tian stared and asked in a muffled voice. Cat Lord and Dog King also looked at him eagerly. Naturally, they wanted to go with Wang Kai. After all, who didn't want to become infinitely stronger? Well, I do want to go to the second universe, but you don't have to go for the time being. First, take control of all the other universes, and then I will summon you to the second universe. Wang Kai gently nodded and said lightly. In the second universe, he was not a master. If he took them there now, it would be dangerous. He couldn't start bragging when he arrived at the second universe, right? In Wang Kai's words, it was to slowly enjoy the mortal world. Well, try to be quick. After saying that, Neoja Tian tore the void and left. Cat Lord and Dog King took their leave one after another and followed closely behind. With them there, except for the first and second universes. No one will be a match for them. It would be easy to control all the universes. When are we leaving? King Kong narrowed his eyes and couldn't wait to ask. He really didn't want to stay in the third universe any longer. There was no master who could fight. There was no protagonist aura or system owner who could hunt and devour. If he couldn't strengthen himself, what was the point? Let's go now. Wang Kai shrugged, got up, and stepped into the air with Yun Yin and Wen Xian. Siraku summoned his spirit-branded greedy wolf and led the way. Are they going to the second universe? Wen Rinrun, the Four Symbols Elders, and Yun Xianzi. At this moment, they were all standing in the air. Looking at Wang Kai and the others leaving, they all had complicated expressions. If there was a chance, they naturally wanted to go. That Wang Kai, I don't think highly of him. Yun Xianzi frowned, pursed her red lips, and looked a little unfriendly. Hearing this, the Four Symbols Elders and Wen Rinrun were a little surprised. They secretly thought that such a master, such a genius, why didn't she think highly of him? However, Yun Xianzi was too embarrassed to say the reason. At the same time, at the end of the third universe, in front of a huge barrier, King Kong used the army destroyer Shikigami to open a door the size of a person. Seeing this, Wang Kai couldn't help but be a little curious. He deliberately stretched out his hand and touched the barrier. However, when he touched it, he found that his hand went through it. The system is really awesome. Wang Kai touched his nose and then directly walked through. King Kong was already a little dumbfounded. How powerful is his system? All the systems in the second universe don't have this ability at all. Only On-My-OG can open the door of the barrier. King Kong frowned, took a deep look at Wang Kai, and then stepped in. Yun Yin and Wen Xian were a little nervous, and they followed closely behind. They were naturally worried and panicked about the unknown universe. Chapter 1326. The Second Universe. Just as King Kong said, it was a place that was quite similar to Earth. The rules of survival were the same as those on Earth. The buildings were even more prosperous than those on Earth. It was as if they were suspended in the sky. There were also flying vehicles and so on. There were even robots. Moreover, the robots were very powerful. Are they all system owners, protagonist auras, or reborn powerhouses? Wang Kai touched his nose and asked curiously. Those robots are not. They are just manufactured. In the second universe, there are 240 million people. Among them, 20 million are system owners, 40 million are strong people with protagonist auras, 60 million are strong people who have been reborn, and the rest of the practitioners came from various universes after reaching certain realms. King Kong waved his hand and changed his clothes into a modern style. He wore a suit and was polite. His long hair also turned into short hair, and he intentionally dyed it blue. Earrings appeared, and he wore a white silver mirror. Seeing this scene, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He immediately made a move and transformed into a white dress. Her earrings fell, and her short silver-white hair. There was also a small black dot under the corner of his eyes. Patter. Then, under King Kong's stunned gaze, Wang Kai even took out a pack of cigarettes, bit one, and started smoking with a lighter. Who the hell are you? You're even more second universe than I am. King Kong's face darkened, and he was speechless. It was really Wang Kai's dressing and his appearance. He was simply too handsome. Yun Yin saw it clearly with her divine consciousness, and she liked it very much. As for Wen Xian, her pretty face also blushed, and she was inexplicably emotional. The two of you should transform as well. Wang Kai held the cigarette in his mouth and flicked his finger. Immediately, rays of light pierced through. In an instant, Yun Yin was wearing a black dress. His exposed shoulders were rather worrisome, especially the groove in the middle of her chest. It was really charming. A pair of snow-white legs could be said to be eye-catching. Earrings, red lips, eyeliner, and although her hair was black, it was extremely elegant. On the other side, Wen Xian was wearing a princess dress. wearing a pair of princess shoes. She looked rather adorable. It was as if she was really a princess. You, what is that smoking thing on your mouth? When Xian raised her hand and pointed her red fingernails at Wang Kai. For a moment, the two women were overjoyed. She felt like she was going to heaven. This is called a cigarette. It has nothing to do with you. Let's go. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, how about a sports car? Otherwise, how boring would it be to walk? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and said playfully, I don't think so. Even in the second universe, you can see that there is no clear mark. Don't look at me like that. I bought everything I have with real money. Of course, if you're not afraid of embarrassing yourself, you can transform into an illusion. Qin Kong pursed his lips and smiled in disdain. Hearing this, black lines appeared on Wang Kai's forehead. If that was the case, he had to do it in the second universe first. To become a millionaire? It's just like Earth, okay? What is the money used here? Wang Kai frowned and asked curiously. Here, this is it. It's called 2 coins. Qin Kong flipped his hand and took out a banknote with 2 written on it. It was the same size as R&M, but the pattern on it was 2. 2 coins. F***, is it that awesome? Wang Kai's mouth twitched fiercely, and he suddenly felt speechless. After all this time, in order to become a millionaire, he had to earn countless 2 coins first? F*** this. If the people on Earth knew about this, wouldn't they laugh? How many 2 coins do you have? Wang Kai frowned and asked. More than 400,000. In a small county, I'm considered to be quite rich. Qin Kong said proudly. In a small county, you're quite rich. F***you. Wang Kai was speechless when he heard this. Can't I rob? No. The second universe has rules. You have to rely on your own strength to earn money. Of course, if you find those dark gangs and destroy them, you can get a lot of money, but it's very difficult to succeed. Even if you succeed, you'll be targeted by other gangs. Qin Kong shrugged and said casually. So, you're a commoner in the second universe? Wang Kai touched his nose. He couldn't accept it. Such a strong Qin Kong, but he was in such a situation. If it was in another universe, they would be overlords. You can say that. I don't care because you're not as good as me now. At least, you don't even have a single 2 coin. Qin Kong shrugged and said proudly. Not even a single 2 coin. Hearing this, black lines appeared on Wang Kai's forehead. Let's find an evil underworld gang and annihilate them. Let's open a bar first. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and quickly came up with an idea. As long as the bar was open, there were simply too many ways to become rich. Sorry, I won't get involved in this matter with you. If you want to destroy it, do it yourself. Qin Kong hurriedly waved his hand to refuse. Then, he landed on the ground, hailed a taxi, and flew away. The taxi's flying speed was extremely fast. Wang Kai even felt that it was as fast as his flying speed. Wouldn't it be great if Earth could develop to this extent? Wang Kai shook his head. There was hope, but he didn't know how many years it would take. Then, under the probing of his divine telekinesis, Wang Kai brought Yin Yin and Wen Xian. They arrived in front of the largest bar. This place was called Wulong City. The name of the bar was the same as the name of the city. Wulong Bar. Kid, how much combat power do you have? How many 2 coins do you have? Look at the things you're wearing. Aren't they all illusions? There's no real logo or mark at all. A bald man in a suit and sunglasses stood at the entrance of the bar. He looked at Wang Kai, frowned, and questioned him. Hee, the 2 beauties he brought with him have a good figure and face. How about this? I'll give you 3,002 coins, and you can give them to me. What do you think? A short man in a suit looked at Yin Yin and Wen Xian lecherously. He took out a stack of 2 coins and waved it at Wang Kai. What the F*** are you talking about? Who are you talking to? Don't you know that this area is under my protection? Wang Kai's face turned cold and immediately punched out like a hooligan. Immediately, the short man's nose was bleeding and he was sent flying. F***, your combat power is only 20? You have a nerve to show off in front of me? After asking the system, Wang Kai became more and more disdainful. Chapter 1327. Not bad. Why? Did she say yes again? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at him rather casually. Hee hee, I'll pay you 200,002 coins. I want one of the two beauties behind you. Are you willing to slap? Slap. Before the yellow-haired boy could finish his words, with a flip of his hand, Wang Kai immediately sent out a slap. That yellow-haired brat was sent flying with a slap. He crashed into the T-shaped stage and knocked away a few girls with heavy makeup. The lively scene instantly quieted down. Everyone stared blankly at the scene before them. They had no idea what had happened. This was the Wulong Bar. Could it be that someone dared to cause trouble here? And the person who was beaten was the security guard of the Wulong Bar? What did you say just now? Say it again. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at the yellow-haired boy indifferently. Behind him, Yun Yin and Wen Xian's faces were already extremely cold. If Wang Kai hadn't taken the initiative to attack first, the two of them had already killed him. In the third universe, killing people was a very normal thing. They had just arrived in the second universe, so they wouldn't be soft-hearted. Call the robot, call the robot. The yellow-haired boy covered his face and got up with a cold face and shouted. Soon, the waitress from before picked up the phone. I've heard of calling the police, but what do you mean by calling the robot? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and asked rather speechlessly. When everyone heard this, they looked at each other and sneered. In the third universe, robots were equivalent to the existence of the police. As long as they found someone guilty, they would directly punish them. And each of them was very powerful. They were even more cold-blooded and ruthless. Young Master Wang, why do I feel that something is wrong? Yin Yin pursed her red lips and was inexplicably worried. Wen Xian also frowned and felt that something was wrong. It was because the people around them were not weaker than them. At the same time, they were very optimistic about the so-called robot. Didn't this mean that the robot was even stronger than these people? What's the strongest combat power of these people? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and secretly asked the system. Host, the strongest, combat power 63. Only 63? Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. In that case, the so-called robots here were not that strong. You may not know this, but I created the robot. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing the battle strength by 10 points. Also, my battle power is 10,000. Wang Kai clasped his hands behind his back and shook his head with a smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing the battle strength by 10 points. Host, Wang Kai title, Combat 5 Dregs Realm, Supreme Combat Power, 65 bragging points, 900 experience, 0/10065 points of combat power. In this bar, it should be the strongest, right? As for the strength of those robots, it should be enough to suppress these people. Since that's the case, I'll blow it up to 100 battle power to be more stable. Thinking of this, Wang Kai was stunned under the disdainful gazes of the crowd. He opened his mouth again with a smile. I was wrong. My battle power is 100,000. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing the battle strength by 10 points. Oh no, it's actually 1 million battle power. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing the battle strength by 10 points. Well, it's still 10 million. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing the battle strength by 10 points. Facing the stunned crowd, Wang Kai was too lazy to pay attention to them. He patted his head, rubbed the side of his head, and grinned. I remembered wrong. It's actually 100 million battle power. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing the battle strength by 10 points. Congratulations to the host for breaking through the battle strength of 100. You have received the title, Fighting Slag. Host, Wong Kai title, Fighting Slag Realm. Supreme Combat Power, 105 bragging points, 1300 experience. 0 out of 100 his combat power exceeded 100, but he still couldn't avoid the title of Slag? Wong Kai was really speechless. He urged his mind to close it, found his seat, crossed his legs, and hugged Yun Yin and Wen Xian. He patiently waited for the so-called robots to arrive. Seeing this, everyone sneered and didn't say anything. Soon, a team of robots entered in a single file. There were 20 of them. Their appearance was exactly the same as humans. The way they wore clothes was also the same. They were all in police uniforms. And under the observation, it could be clearly seen that their insides were all constructed by machines. It was simply a high imitation of humans. This is too disappointing, isn't it? Their battle strength is only 0. Wong Kai communicated with the system, and the corner of his mouth suddenly twitched fiercely. For a moment, he was really speechless. Are you stupid? The strength of robots, is not measured by their battle strength. Even if you have 10,000 battle strength, there is no difference between you and them. That's right. In the second universe, robots are the natural enemies of cultivators. They were born to restrain cultivators. The silent crowd, at this moment, all opened their mouths to express their disdain. If they had said it earlier, they would have been afraid that Wong Kai would take the opportunity to escape. Now that they had said it, it was already impossible to escape. Is that so? Wong Kai frowned when he heard this, and with a flip of his hand, he directly slapped out. Only a loud rumbling sound could be heard. They saw that the 20 robots were all smashed into pieces. The electric light was still flashing, appearing suddenly. Such a scene immediately caused everyone to be stunned on the spot. Then they reacted and looked at Wong Kai in horror. You are the owner of the system? In an instant, everyone looked at Wong Kai with reverence. The yellow-haired young man who was looking for trouble before directly knelt in front of Wong Kai, crying and wiping his tears as he apologized. Especially the waitress, who quickly ran over with a pale face. Sorry, sir, it was my fault just now. You don't need to pay 2 coins, just do me. The waitress gritted her teeth and said with a frightened expression. It was not difficult to see from her eyes. She did not want to have that kind of relationship with Wong Kai, but fear forced her to do so. Wong Kai touched his nose, and for a moment he was speechless. After all this time, in Wulong City, the owner of the system was the most powerful? To be able to ignore the natural restraint of robots? Is the owner of the system very powerful? Wong Kai narrowed his eyes and asked playfully. Chapter 1328. Good. Scarface's pupils shrank, and then he quickly clapped his hands and cheered. The people who followed behind also followed suit. I just don't know. Big brother, what's your combat power? The boss of Wulong Bar, Lu Laohe, has a combat power of 100. He's about to enter the next city. Scarface rubbed his hands and carefully asked, Didn't my combat power exceed that? 10 billion. Why do you keep asking? Wong Kai furrowed his brows and said impatiently, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat power by 10 points. Hearing those words, Scarface, Long, and the others were speechless. They never thought that the young man in front of them would be so good at bragging. Moreover, he clearly said that his combat power was 1 billion. Now, it had actually become 10 billion. If they continued to ask, wouldn't it be 100 billion? Big brother, I know my mistake. Suddenly, the middle-aged man knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing. He originally wanted to find Scarface to take revenge for him. But in the end, Scarface became Wong Kai's follower. If he knew this would happen, he would have run away. He wouldn't have been unable to leave now. Slap. F***CKU. You even dare to provoke my big brother? You're too pretentious, aren't you? Suddenly, Scarface turned his hand and slapped the middle-aged man, causing him to fall to the ground. All right, let him continue to watch over Wulong Bar from now on. Wong Kai waved his hand and said casually, okay. Scarface quickly nodded. The middle-aged man kept thanking him. Who wants to take over my bar? At the same time, a middle-aged man, wearing a leather jacket and pants, took off his sunglasses and quickly walked into the bar. He looked at the robot fragments on the ground. Lu Laohei's mouth suddenly twitched. It seemed that what he said on the phone was true. The person who wanted to take over Wulong Bar was indeed the owner of the system. Scarface? Why are you in my bar? Lu Laohei frowned. His dark skin stared fiercely. Brother He, I'm following him now. Scarface Dragon chuckled and pointed at Wong Kai. Laohei Lu turned his gaze and looked at Wong Kai. Seeing that it was just a young man, he couldn't help but be surprised. However, when he thought about the fact that he was the owner of the system, everything made sense. Now, many system owners were using a young appearance. It could even change one's age. These things were no secret in the second universe. Only a ghost would know how old this young man was. You're the owner of the system, and you want to take over my bar? Laohei Lu narrowed his eyes and asked indifferently. There was no sign of fear. On the contrary, he was very calm. It was as if they were looking at the same kind of person. Wong Kai couldn't help but be a little surprised by this situation. Could it be that Laohei Lu was also the owner of the system? Or was he a protagonist with a protagonist's aura? Or was he a reincarnated character? That's right. You name your price. Wong Kai propped his legs up and said in a rather heroic manner, 100 and 200 million. Laohei Lu raised a finger and said, 100 million? Wong Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this. He said rather indifferently, how much is your life worth? Is it enough for 100 million? Laohei Lu was stunned for a moment before he reacted. It turned out that this kid wanted to get something without risking anything. It's true that you're the owner of the system, but I'm not bad either. Laohei Lu put his hands behind his back and sneered. What is he? Wong Kai secretly communicated with the system. Host, he is the owner of the wealth system. He has been hiding, breaking through the realm, improving his combat power, and relying on accumulating wealth to satisfy the system. Moreover, he is now short of 100 and 200 million to break through the combat power of 100 and go to the next city. As the system notification rang out, Wong Kai suddenly came to a realization. In the end, the wealth system was not that useful, right? It was just accumulating wealth. Without that much wealth, wouldn't he have to stay at his original realm or combat power? You are the owner of the wealth system. Now you are short of 100 to 200 million to break through the combat power of 100, right? Wong Kai shrugged and said playfully, whoosh. As soon as these words came out, Laohei Lu suddenly turned pale with fright. He took a few steps back and stared at Wong Kai in disbelief. It was not that he had never seen a system owner before. He had killed many of them, but a system owner who could see what kind of system he was at once. Today was the first time he had seen it, and there was only one possibility for this kind of thing. The other party's system was stronger than his. It was of a higher level than his. I don't know what kind of system your system is. Laohei Lu asked seriously. You don't need to know about this. In short, you just need to know that I am invincible. My combat power is a man of more than 100 billion. Wong Kai shrugged and said with a rather indifferent expression, congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 100 experience and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat power by 10 points. Host, Wong Kai title, Scum of War Realm, Supreme Combat Power, 145 bragging points, 1700 experience, 0 out of 100, 145 combat power. Wong Kai casually glanced at it. Then he activated his mind and closed it. I'll give this bar to you, but you have to at least agree to let me hang out with you, right? Suddenly, Laohei Lu rubbed his hands and said with a smile. He directly turned into the appearance of Scarface Dragon just now. This really made Wong Kai and the others speechless. Just a moment ago, he was so arrogant, but now he was so honest. You can hang out with me. This was my plan from the beginning. As for the 100-200 million coins you lack, I'll help you earn it. Now you just need to rebuild the bar according to my requirements. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said rather casually, Then, how do I build it? 100-200 million coins in Wulong City. It will take at least 2 years to earn. I originally thought that I would go to the next city in 2 years. Lao He Lu said rather seriously. It's very simple. Send out invitations to other cities to build up the reputation of Wulong Bar. Attract those with strong combat power to come here and spend money. When the time comes, just kill the fool who pretends to be cool and take all his property. Wang Kai crossed his legs and said lightly, Attract people from other cities? I don't think they will come, right? Moreover, even if they do come, their combat power is all over 100. Can we beat them? Lao He Lu's face was full of worry. If this method was feasible, he would have implemented it long ago. The key was that it was not feasible. He did not have the strength to do it. Chapter 13:29. 7 days later. Wulong Bar. There had been earth-shattering changes. The scale was several times larger than the original. If it weren't for the system, there would be 2 systems. It was impossible to complete it in 7 days. At the same time, Wang Kai, wearing a white suit with silver hair, earrings, and a cigarette in his mouth, sat on the bar counter with his legs crossed. Yin Yin and Wen Xian were inside the bar counter. Wang Dachui and Li Xiaohua were outside. Lu Laohe and Scarface Dragon were sitting on a row of sofas at the back with their underlings. Boss, I'm short of 2 coins now. That's 70 million more. Lu Laohe said with a bitter smile. If he used the wealth system to build a bar, it would consume his wealth. Now, 70 million of his wealth was gone. It caused his combat strength to drop to 87 points. A total of 13 points were gone. Your system isn't that good. After using wealth, you still have to reduce your combat strength and deduct my wealth? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and said rather speechlessly. He thought to himself that his system was awesome. By bragging casually, he could get hints of his combat strength and the bragging points needed to exchange for things. It wouldn't reduce his realm at all. He could even get as much as he wanted. He could be as strong as he wanted. However, there was one thing that wasn't as good as the wealth system. The bragging system could only be used on the host, but the wealth system could be used on anyone. We're going out shopping. Yin Yin and Wen Xian walked out of the bar counter, said goodbye, and left. Now, they were completely familiar with the living habits and ways of the second universe. When they were shopping, they even changed into yoga pants. It had to be said that it really made people feel better. If it weren't for the fact that they had been busy with the bar these days. Wang Kai had already made his move and eaten them all. It's a pity that Yin doesn't want to recover her eyes. Forget it, let her be. Wang Kai slowly retracted his gaze and looked at Lu Laohe and the others. He said lightly, You should have a way to contact people in other cities, right? Of course there is. But you can't go in as you please. Laohe Lu rubbed his nose and said awkwardly, That's right. If you want to enter other cities, once you're discovered by the robots or residents there, the end result is either death or being crippled and thrown back. Scarface Dragon said with lingering fear, Aren't you the owner of the system? Robots are useless to you, right? Wang Kai frowned and looked at him speechlessly. It's useless, but the other residents can kill me. My system can increase my combat strength if I don't have enough wealth. If I don't meet the rules of the next city and enter recklessly, I'll definitely die if I'm discovered. Laohe Lu spread out his hands helplessly. If they didn't have enough combat power, they could go to other cities. Who would choose to live in Wulong City? Wouldn't it be better to just go to a more powerful city? It's really troublesome. How about this? You go to the next city and send the flyers of our bar to that city. Well, just say that we have the most beautiful women, the best wine, and 360 kinds of flowers. Regardless of gender, we'll serve them well and make them happy. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile, 360 kinds of flowers? What kind of flowers are those? Laohe Lu and Scarface Dragon looked at each other and thought of the same thing. Both men and women could enjoy it. Didn't that mean that Wulong Bar could have both prostitutes and prostitutes in the future? Moreover, the skills were quite good. Why are you asking so much? We're a proper bar. We don't have so many things. You just need to say that. Well, I'll especially say that the owner of this bar is a Prince Charming. He's also the owner of the system. His combat strength is unfathomable. Rumor has it that he came from the most powerful city. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile, "Okay, if it's just sending the flyers, there won't be a problem. Well, at most, we'll be chased and beaten up by the robots there. With Brother Lu's system, we'll be fine." Scarface Dragon and Lao He Lu looked at each other and left Wulong Bar with dozens of underlings. Wang Kai looked at the sky that was about to darken. He couldn't help but smile and said, "Spread the news that Wulong Bar will open in 3 days. Well, in these 3 days, we're hiring waiters. Both men and women." "Yes, boss. Don't call me boss. Call me Prince Charming." Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually, "Yes, Prince Charming." The yellow-haired youth, Wang Dachui, immediately left respectfully. At the same time, only Li Xiaohua and Wang Kai were left in the bar. For a moment, Li Xiaohua was inexplicably nervous. She asked softly, "Prince Charming, you said that you wanted to have sex with me. Is that true?" Why are you suddenly asking this?" Wang Kai frowned and looked at her, puzzled. I was just thinking that if I could become your woman, my life would be good in the future, right? But don't worry. I don't need you to announce that I'm your woman. You just need to give me 500,000 2 coins. Li Xiaohua blinked her beautiful eyes and said in a trembling voice, 500,000 2 coins? What do you want to do?" Wang Kai was getting more and more curious. He couldn't help but jump down from the bar, walk up to her, and pull her into his arms. He had to admit that this girl's looks and figure were pretty good. There was no harm in giving such an unspoken rule a try, right? You don't have to ask. Just take it that you're lending it to me. I'll return it to you slowly." Li Xiaohua pursed her red lips and said nervously. She could feel Wang Kai's hand moving around her body. For a moment, she couldn't help but blush. Even so, she gritted her teeth and endured it. She allowed Wang Kai to touch her. "Isn't this a little expensive? 500,000 2 coins?" Wang Kai furrowed his brows and asked playfully, I'll take it that I'm lending it to you. I'll return it to you in the future. You won't lose out." Li Xiaohua said cautiously, seeing that she had the guts to propose such a condition to make a deal with him. Wang Kai couldn't help but feel a little surprised. He secretly thought that maybe she really had something urgent to do. Thinking of this, Wang Kai simply didn't care. He divided the 1,000,000 2 coins he got from Lu Laohe into 500,000 2 coins. You could go to the 2-coin shop to get it. Wang Kai shrugged and handed her a 2-coin card. There were exactly 500,000 2 coins in it. Chapter 1330. Faced with the two women's understanding and sympathy for Li Xiaohua, Wang Kai couldn't help but feel a little stunned. He touched his nose and said rather speechlessly, "As long as it's justifiable, my body can be taken by anyone. Aren't you too bad?" It's your blessing that a woman is willing to take you." When she uncurled her lips and said rather disdainfully, "Yes," Yin Yin nodded her head gently in agreement. "No, that damned woman's combat strength is about 180. None of us are her match. Even the boss is only 155. No, 145. Li Xiaohua pursed her red lips and quickly corrected herself. Yin Yin and Wen Xian were not sure if Wang Kai was bragging just now. But as the person involved, Li Xiaohua naturally knew very well. Brag a few more times. Hurry up. After that, increase our battle prowess as well. Wen Xian looked at Wang Kai and urged impatiently. Yin Yin also sat beside Wang Kai and said softly, "Hurry up and brag." Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. It was the first time that a beauty asked him to brag like this. For a moment, he didn't know how to brag. "Help me brag, and I'll brag again." "Okay." Wang Kai frowned and said rather playfully, "Help you brag? Will it work if we brag?" Yin Yin and Wen Xian both looked at Wang Kai with some confusion. They didn't notice that Li Xiaohua's face was already red. She naturally knew very well what Wang Kai meant by help him brag. I didn't expect the boss to like this. Li Xiaohua frowned and thought to herself. What I mean by help me brag is, immediately, Wang Kai secretly transmitted his voice and told them the detailed method. After the two women understood, their faces were as red as blood. They didn't expect that the so-called help him brag would be like this. You're shameless. So dirty. The two girls pursed their red lips and scolded him with shyness and indignation. In response, Wang Kai shrugged. If you don't help me brag, I won't brag. Even his sister-in-law wants to help him blow. The boss's taste is too strong. Li Xiaohua pursed her red lips, secretly surprised. He did not know the relationship between Wang Kai and Wen Xian, nor did he know the names of Wen Xian and Yun Yan. He had always thought that Wen Xian was his sister-in-law. I promise you, tonight, I'll help you blow it. Yun Yan's face was flushed red as she whispered. I promise you, I'll help you blow it tonight. At the same time, Wen Xian secretly transmitted her voice. Her beautiful face was also extremely red. Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose when he heard this. Isn't the sacrifice of these two women too great? He was willing to go to such lengths just to help Li Xiaohua? Or are they deliberately playing with me and trying to brush me off for the time being? Forget it. I'll just take it as helping Li Xiaohua. What they say may not be true, but if Li Xiaohua's matter is settled, not only will she help me blow it, she will also have sex with me. Hee. Thinking of this, Wang Kai furrowed his brows and stood up with a solemn expression. With his hands behind his back, he shook his head and said, I'm the most handsome man in the 7 universes. Countless beauties will chase after me and cry for me. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat strength by 10 points. Well, can you lower the taste of your bragging a little? That's right. Don't be so unrealistic, okay? Wen Xian pursed her red lips and reminded on behalf of Wang Kai shyly. Although Yun Yan did not say anything, she also meant this. Li Xiaohua looked at Wang Kai's dark face and was scared out of her wits. He was obviously just bragging, but he had already bragged. She even asked him to be more realistic. Wasn't she obviously saying that Wang Kai was not that handsome? Can you show some respect for my profession? Wang Kai's face darkened as he glared at her angrily. Oh, then continue. Wen Xian pursed her red lips and turned her head away. Yes, I'm the most powerful god of war in the 7 universes. With a wave of my hand, I can destroy the 7 universes. With a step, I can even crush the 7 universes. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and said with a proud expression, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat strength by 10 points. Did you hear that? Did you see that? He's not even blushing. Wen Xian blinked her beautiful eyes in shock. Yun Yan and Li Xiaohua could not help but turn their heads away and hold back their laughter. Are you looking for trouble? Wang Kai's forehead was full of black lines. He gritted his teeth and glared at her. Just when he was in the mood to brag, she actually made him lose face like this. He had no way to refute her. After all, the bragging system had been exposed. Who would believe that he was not bragging? I have to respect your profession. You can continue bragging. Wen Xian quickly exclaimed and lowered her head, trying to hold back her laughter. Humph! If you do it again, I will immediately stop helping you. Don't talk about bragging for me. Even if you ask me to F***CK you all together now, I won't agree. Wang Kai said coldly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat strength by 10 points. Wow, this bragging is really good. It should be 185 points now, right? Hurry up bragging again. If it exceeds 185, it will be done. Wen Xian clapped her hands and looked at Wang Kai with admiration. Wang Kai. Yun Yan could not hold it in any longer. She pursed her red lips and giggled. Li Xiaohua could not hold it in either and turn her back. However, the trembling of her delicate body betrayed her current state of mind. My nickname is Hang Wan Jin. Wang Kai frowned and gritted his teeth in annoyance. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat strength by 10 points. Host, Wang Kai title, Scum of War Realm. Supreme combat strength, 195 bragging points. 200 experience. 0 out of 100 after hearing the notification. He took a look and saw that it was 195 points. It was beyond the range of 180 points. Even in Gawang City, he would be considered an expert, right? Bah, shameless. You've gone too far with your bragging. Wen Xian and Yun Yan were both blushing. Li Xiaohua blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at Wang Kai in surprise. Who would have thought that he would be able to boast about such a thing? That was amazing. I'm not bragging. I'm telling the truth. I can indeed hang Wan Jin. I can even hang Wan Jin. If you don't believe me, I'll let you sit on the swing tonight. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100 experience points and bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully increasing combat strength by 10 points. Bah, shameless. The two girls turned around and blushed. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.